Hey beautiful souls, and welcome to today's Pick a Card reading. I am so excited to dive into this timeless reading with you because today we're going to explore a very powerful question. What shadow needs your attention? Shadows are the parts of ourselves that often go unnoticed or suppressed, but when we take the time to acknowledge and work with them, incredible transformation and healing can happen. Today, we'll uncover what it is, how it's impacting you, and what guidance you need to move forward with clarity and empowerment. I have included a time lapse showing how I carefully prepare the piles for this reading, and every card is selected with intention to bring forth the clearest guidance for you at this time. After that, I'm going to guide you through a mini grounding and centering practice using my beloved tuning forks to help you center yourself. And this is something I've created specifically to help anchor your energy, calm your mind, and ensure you're choosing your pile from a place of clarity and intuition rather than from a place of fear or anxiety. Because this grounded and centering practice that I have included in my readings is here to help you be able to do that for yourself before selecting a pile. That way you can ensure the pile that is calling out to you is coming from a place of genuine intuition. I do highly encourage you to participate in this centering practice before selecting your pile because it's just a few minutes and it's going to make a big difference in connecting with the energy of the reading. Of course, if you'd like to skip ahead though, I have included timestamps in the description below so you can jump right into the pile selection or the reading itself if you feel called to. But let us get started. We are going to definitely be getting your significator cards set up during this pile preparation portion, along with shuffling and getting all the cards out. The only two decks that we are not going to prepare in advance is going to be the self-compassion deck that I have over here, along with the soul truth self-awareness deck that I have here as well. Without further ado, let's get into it. And if you don't feel like sticking along, I'll see you in the pile selection portion of this video. Alright guys, so if you guys happen to still be here while you were in the pile preparation portion of this video, well, you lovely souls are the chosen ones that get to see the collective energy for this reading entirely. For all 4 piles in total, there is going to be an ongoing theme here with the shadow that wants your attention. So for the back of the deck energies, for the Yin Yang Oracle, we have distance, retreat, or time out. In the second back of the deck energy, we have with the Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards. Ruled by the root chakra, we have insecurity. So right off the bat, for all of you guys watching this, regardless of what pile you choose, you beautiful souls, this shadow of you that is going to want your attention is going to be a part of you that you have shunned away. It's a part of you that you will have likely locked away to not look at or pay much attention towards. And it's going to be a part of you that has been kind of locked away to protect yourself or others from getting hurt. That's a very specific channel message coming through. I wonder how this is going to play out with all the piles, but that is the collective energy for everyone that is going to choose a pile within today's video, okay? So I just wanted to state that in case you guys are still here, you guys are the chosen ones that get to kind of see this as some further clarity, or I guess a little bit more of a hint towards where this reading is going to take us today, okay? So with that being said, I'm just going to place these cards to the side. I'm going to organize everything and get ready to go into the pile selection portion of your video. I will meet you there, okay? Welcome to the grounding and centering portion of today's reading. Before you choose the pile that you're most drawn towards, let's take a moment to ground and center ourselves. Close your eyes if you can, and take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely, holding it for a moment at the top, and then slowly exhale through your mouth, releasing any tension or stress you may be holding on to. Feel your body relaxing with each breath. Imagine roots extending from the soles of your feet deep into the earth, anchoring you securely to the ground. Feel the stability and support of the earth beneath you. As you breathe in, visualize a warm, golden light entering through the top of your head, filling your entire body with a sense of calm and peace. This light grounds you, centers you, and connects you to your inner wisdom. In a moment, I will play some tuning fork frequencies to help deepen your relaxation and enhance your connection to your intuition. Simply listen to the sounds and allow them to wash over you, bringing you further into a state of peace and centeredness. Keeping
that centered and grounded energy. Allow it to guide you as you select the pile you feel most drawn towards. Trust your intuition and let it lead you to the message you need to hear today. Thank you for taking this moment to ground and center yourself. Now, let's begin the reading.
Okay, beautiful souls, so we have made it to the pile selection portion of this video. If you guys just came back from that grounded and centering tuning fork practice, I am so happy that you guys were able to join me in my little voiceover on that journey, because I feel like that is one of the most grounding things that can really benefit anybody that's trying to get some insight that you know is very significant in your life at this time. And not to mention, this is a shadow work based pick a card. Like, this is a very important reading, so we want to make sure that you are in the most grounded state of mind before selecting a pile that you know is meant for you. Each significator card here that's going to help you select your pile is also going to be the archetype that is symbolizing the exact shadow aspect of you that wants your attention right now, okay? So with that being said, let's flip these cards over. So for pile number 1, the significator card / archetype that is showing their shadow side that wants to come to the forefront of their life right now is going to be, oh my god, the Aletheia. Wow, okay. For some reason, I feel like there was symbolism to what just happened. The Aletheia. When it just felt like that, it felt like it's scared, like it doesn't want to come to the spotlight. This could be a part of you then, pile number 1, that is paranoid of being seen. And it took a lot of guts for them to come out to be seen today, to give you the messages that they need to give you. I just felt called to share that out there. But with pile number 2, your significator card, as well as the archetype symbolizing the shadow side that wants your attention, is the Poet. Beautiful. For pile number 3, your archetype that shows to be your shadow that wants your attention right now is the Box. And lastly, for pile number 4, your archetype is the Shaman. All right, guys. So I do highly encourage that you guys do take a moment to connect with the significator cards shown in front of you. Which one speaks to you? Trust your first instinct with that and give yourself a moment to really sit with the imagery. And whenever you are able to know for certain which pile is meant for you in terms of which shadow wants your attention, I'm going to gladly and lovingly invite you to check out the timestamps listed in the description box below, okay? So you can just hop right into the pile that is calling out to you the most. Pause this part of the video for as long as you need to until you make the right selection for you. And I send you guys so much unconditional love. Let's get some shadow work healing started. Hi, pile number 1, and if this is the card that allowed you to select this pile, the Aletheia card, I hope I am pronouncing that correctly, then this is 100% your pile in terms of what shadow needs your attention. And this is also going to be the card signifying the archetypal energy of the shadow side that wants your attention right now. So, pile number 1. This shadow side of yours has a lot to do with the truth. The truth, let's put that in, what's the word? Those 2 little dashes when you're trying to quote somebody. I literally forgot that word. I don't know why. It's a quotations. Let's put that in quotations. And the reason why I'm saying to put that in quotations is because the truth needs to mean whatever it means to you, right? Everyone's idea of the truth, that statement, is going to symbolize or mean something different to them. Whatever that statement may mean in your head at this moment, pile number one, something with your shadow side, the shadow side of you that wants your attention, has something to do with just that. When it comes to Alethea, this is usually a card that is an initiation-based archetype. This is usually a card that is trying to push you to reveal a truth or take yourself out of some sort of illusion. This card can also be hinting at gaslighting of some kind, or somebody just not allowing something to come to the surface, come to light, or be seen. Something that may have been hidden is trying to come to light, or it's kind of eating at you alive, or you're either lying to yourself about something that you know is true for you. This can also be another indicator that you are not speaking your truth, you are not embodying or honoring your truth, and this shadow side of you is a part of you that is authentically you, but you have pushed it away for so long. You are so ashamed of this part of you, you are embarrassed of it or something like that, and so you are not allowing it to come to light. There's some sort of guilt. I feel like when I'm trying to channel your energy, it feels as if there is, I feel sick. I have a feeling of nausea in my chest. I don't know if that makes sense, because I know we can't get nausea in our chest, but the way that I am having sensations right now, pile number one, it does feel like this is a shadow aspect of you that was alive and thriving at one point. It was a part of you. You ripped it off, you locked it away, you don't want anything to do with it anymore. Maybe even me talking about something with truth coming to light or being honest or revealing something could be making you a little bit uncomfortable or making you sick physically. There's just this feeling of annoyance when this shadow side of you is even spoken about. So that's very interesting right off the bat, right? Let's place your significator card to the side over here. And the way that we're going to be doing this reading, I've already done a couple shadow readings on my channel before, but the way we're going to be doing this one is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be diving into 4 different questions. The last question, we are only going to pull out a second significator card from the same deck that allowed you to select this pile, the archetypal, the wild unknown deck. However, before we even get there, we're going to dive into this in phases. So the first phase of your reading today is going to be about what shadow needs your attention specifically. So we're going to get the specifics on the exact shadow that's coming up to help kind of feed into this energy of your significator card. We're going to be using this little pile of oracle decks that I was able to set up in the pile preparation portion of your reading. We're going to be using the chakra wisdom cards that we got out for you to look into the first portion, which is going to be what shadow needs your attention. And then this is going to be for the second question, and these 2 decks is going to be for the actionable steps you can take to work with it, which is going to be the very third question, okay? We're gonna kind of lay out everything as we roll through it. That way you are still able to see all the cards you get out for each individual question, and I won't need to clear anything up because I need you guys to be able to kind of piece things together. This is a reading where I do highly recommend you guys have a journal or something you can take notes with, because this is where a lot of insight, a lot of clarity, or things that maybe you have been trying to kind of reflect on your own is going to come to light a little bit more swiftly, because we're going to channel it all. With that being said, we're going to get this tarot deck out for you and kind of go straight into it, okay? No more chit-chatting here. Just a quick disclaimer for you beautiful souls. Pile number one, this reading may bring up a lot of heavy things, a lot of things that maybe are difficult to look at on your own, okay? So I do really want you to take your time with this. If there is at any point this reading gets too intense, simply pause it. You can take a break from the reading and come back to it at another time with a clearer head, okay? Remember, this is your own personal healing journey. This is your own personal self-growth journey. There is no right or wrong way to move through this reading. I'm just proud of you that you're here. I'm proud of you that you are showing up for you right now. You are showing up for parts and pieces of you that have been wanting more love and attention and care and nourishment coming from you. You should be proud of yourself. You should feel a little bit of love right now coming from you. As cheesy or cliche or cringy as that might sound, it is a beautiful thing, right? So I applaud you, okay? Let us definitely get into this. And before we even get into the tarot cards, let us take a look at the oracle cards we got for this first portion. So, what shadow needs pile number one's attention right now? For the first chakra card, you guys were actually the only pile in this reading that got 2 chakra cards, so feel a little special here, is perfection ruled by the root chakra. . And for the second chakra card you received, we have the heart chakra ruling this card with the keyword growth. Pile number 1, I really want to figure out if I can place your significator archetype over here for now. That way we just have more space to place your other cards. Okay. Hopefully you guys are able to see that. Sorry if I just hit the table a little. But let us get into this. Before we even look at your tarot, right off the bat when I stare at the oracle cards that we got for this first portion. In terms of what shadow needs your attention, pile number 1, it is showing to me that there is a huge part of you that is sort of OCD-like. It's a part of you that is expecting greatness 24/7. The shadow side of you, it can be bipolar at times, not in the medical terminology, but more like it switches back and forth on how it feels about itself. This shadow of you, this aspect of you is always expecting greatness of itself. It always wants to be the best. It always wants to do the best. It always wants to show up as the best version of itself. But at the same time, on the other side of the coin, this is also a part of you that never thinks that what it does is enough. So it's kind of like you're on this never-ending journey towards greatness within yourself, and there's no end goal for it, because no matter what this aspect of you does, it never feels like what it does is enough. Like, you could have accomplished many things in your lifetime so far, but you, or this shadow aspect of you, doesn't look at it or won't pay attention to it because of this wound that it possesses about it not being good enough still. I want to take a look at your tarot cards and let's kind of put everything together here. So we're going to pull out 3 cards in your tarot for each individual question we're going to dive into. So what shadow needs your attention right now? So what shadow needs pile number 1's attention right now? Okay. And for the back of the deck energy, we have the 8 of Cups. I hope you guys can see that and that it is focused. And to flip these cards over, to plug it into the oracle cards we got for you, we have the 4 of Swords. Next up, the 8 of Pentacles. And lastly, we have the Ace of Swords. Okay, this is making a lot of sense. I believe, pile number 1, this shadow side of you is a part of you that's very, very tired. And that's why it took a lot of guts for it to come out today. It feels like this is a part of you that has been trying not to come up. Like, it's been trying to work with you for such a long time because it knows that this is what you want at the end of the day is kind of aligned with what it wants for you. Because it is a part of you, right? So all these different aspects of us are always going to kind of look at the same, like they're always going to be trying to strive towards the same end goal in life. Even if there's wounds involved with it. My bad, I keep hitting the table. Even if there's wounds involved in it, like it still wants the same for you in the end, for what you want for yourself and the bigger picture scheme of things. But this part of you, it came up and it took a lot of guts for it to come up today. I need to keep emphasizing that because this is a part of you that has been afraid to say anything because it knows that when it speaks up, it's going to be hard for you to hear it. This is a part of you that is exhausted, has been working with you for a very long time now to work towards something bigger than yourself. This might have something to do with your work, your career, or like a bigger goal or a passion or some sort of project or endeavor. Something that you need to work continuously and consistently towards. This shadow side of you has been there for that. You have forgotten though what this motivation and drive, this perseverant like energy inside of you, where it was built from, where it stemmed from. It's not coming from a place of, I guess, unconditional love, we can say. It's not coming from a place of healing. And the foundation that this motivation of yours stands upon is kind of crumbly. It's not in the most stable position, because if something is to get in your way during this endeavor, this may have actually already happened, because I feel like this is something you've been working towards for a while. Like, let's say something gets in your way, or something throws you off guard, or gets in the way of, it's like an obstacle. It throws you off guard so hard that you literally make your own hair fall out. And that could be metaphorical, or that could be like literal. You can get so anxious enough to start thinking while you're working towards this endeavor or goal or whatever it is, if it's work, whatever it is, like I said, you think that when things like this happen unexpectedly, that the world is against you and you got to do it all on your own. Like, there's this weird independence thing that is aligned with the trauma response of some kind. Like, your need to be independent or do things on your own isn't coming from a place of love for yourself. It's coming from a place of like lack of trust in the unknown. There's like a lack of wanting to believe that what you want wants you back. But I'm also hearing that there's a reason why you see things that way. Like, I'm hearing some of you guys had to go through a time or a phase in your life where you believe so hard that good things can happen to you as long as you just keep believing. But then you had to go through some learning lesson of like, oh wait, but now I actually got to work hard to make these things come to life, or keep being consistent at them. And you realize that you can't just have hope in something for it to come true. Like, hard work also needs to be put in place. But because of that, now you're like also afraid to just believe in it too. Like, there needs to be a nice integration between believing and working. Source has been wanting you to meet it halfway. You've been consistently meeting it halfway, though. You just keep thinking that you're not. The shadow side of you needs your attention right now, because it really just wants you to be honest with yourself for good. It's really tired of everything you've been doing. You are a very hard worker, pile number... My God, I cannot talk today. You are a very hard worker, pile number one. And it's really hard for you to admit that to yourself. How far you've actually come is incredible, but you keep thinking like it's not enough. It's come to this point now where it's been ongoing like this cycle. You've been kind of stuck in the self-sabotage for so long that the shadow of you, that is what made this hardworking energy of yours come to life. If it wasn't for the shadow aspect that was born, you wouldn't be as hard of a worker as you are now. But now it's like, okay, I'm starting to wobble in your foundation. I'm getting tired, and I don't want this to affect your work ethic right now. It's like the shadow side of yours needs your attention, because it's trying to tell you that the way that we're doing things, we've been doing things, is just not working anymore, or it's gonna start not working anymore. And it wants you to be prepared. It wants you to be honest with yourself. It wants you to start asking yourself the harder questions to ask when it comes to self-reflective questions. When it comes to questions about where this work ethic was born from, did it come from a place of unconditional love for yourself? If you don't really have like an actual end goal for how much success you want to attain, then your definition of success is also what will define you at the end of the day. Like, you're making your idea of success defining who you are. The sad part about your definition of success is you just think that as long as you keep growing, never stop, keep grinding, that's where you think success lies. But it's also very exhausting to maintain that mindset. That's a beautiful mindset to have, right? But we always need to have balance. There's an anxiety here where you think that when you rest, when you debrief, when you relax, take those moments of pause, that is creating stagnancy in your personal goals you have or something. This shadow side of you is trying to say, like, look, if we want to keep working in the way we are right now, we need to let go of that idea of how hard we're being on ourselves. Like, we are being our own worst enemy in the sense of creating burnout in our life. We are becoming our own worst enemy in the sense of, no matter what I do, nothing is ever good enough. Very specific channel message that's just coming through right now. I am hearing that some of this ideology that you started putting in your head didn't come from you. It came from a parent, or it came from a person that you used to look up to growing up in your past, and it's not even your own voice. Like, just kind of keeps replaying in your head, and you kind of started taking it on as your own voice. And the shadow side's trying to remind you, like, look, I came into fruition for you because I love you, because I want you to do good. But unfortunately this part of you also is survival based. So it just wants you to live in self-preservation, if that makes sense. And so there needs to be more love applied into your style of doing this. And I think we should take a look to see the second portion of this question, which I think will really help us get more clarity on this as well, which is going to be, how is this shadow impacting your life? So I'm going to leave these cards here. And we're just gonna look at that secondary question at the very bottom underneath this, and then we'll move everything to the side when we look into the third section, okay? I'm just gonna move the back of the deck energy that came out for this first section here, and let us look at the Yin Yang Oracle card that wanted to come out for the second section, which is, how is this shadow impacting your life? So how is this shadow for pile number 1 impacting their life? Oh my God, guys, look. I'm gonna show you this. This is insane. You got growth and summer. Perfect, look. In the first section, you got growth. Wow. That is trippy. That is trippy, guys. I did not look at these cards. I just flipped them over now. First time I'm seeing them, I am tripped out. It's kind of feeding into that story. And secondly, so the word growth came out twice. There is an emphasis on how this is impacting your growth. The things that you want in life, you're actually working so hard that it's not sustainable in the long run because you're so scared. You're really starting to mess with your own head. And I do also believe that's why the significator card that is the archetype embodying the shadow side of you that wants your attention right now is Alethea, because it's trying to tell you, like, you are gaslighting yourself right now. You are making yourself think that no matter what you do, you are not good enough, but you've always been. You should look back on everything you've been able to accomplish and recognize how far you've actually come. Like the version of you from 2 years ago, pile number 1, you are not the same anymore. Let us start shuffling these tarot cards and put them underneath here and kind of put everything together, right? So how is this shadow for pile number 1 impacting their life? So how is this shadow for pile number 1 impacting their life? Beautiful souls, for the back of the deck energy, we have the 9 of Pentacles. Again, this is crazy. This is the literal card of self-sufficiency. I guess you can also see it as a card of like personal success, where you've attained what you wanted. Whatever you strive to go do, you're there. And this is the card where you get to also make peace of the journey that is necessary to be taken to get to that end goal or destination you want for yourself. I love that it's here because it's showing to us having to make peace with the turbulences that have been coming up consistently in your own personal journey or endeavor. Whatever this is that you've been working towards, pile number 1, it has not been a smooth ride, okay? It's been like this, it's been like that, it's been like 3 steps forward, 1 step back, and then sometimes it's like 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. You've been kind of going a little bit bonkers because of it. You have been way too hard on yourself. You think that whatever you've been doing is just not working, or there's too much pessimism here, pile number 1. You really are so hard on yourself. I'm also getting this sense coming through that you're trying to prove yourself to others. Deep down, you're trying to prove to yourself that you are capable of accomplishing these things, yes. But the drive that has developed this work ethic within you, the part of you that keeps trying to lead yourself to burnout consistently, that part of you is actually built of trying to prove yourself to others, not you anymore. So we need to like release that so that we can rebuild a foundation for yourself to create that really healthy, stable, consistent work ethic where it will be sustainable in the end, where it will be long lasting because it is coming from a genuine place of unconditional love for yourself. You got to make sure that you're doing these things from a place of genuine, like, I love me enough to try to follow my dreams. I love me enough to do this. There needs to be more self-compassion put into the forefront, and that is why it's like you're literally beating the shadow side of you so aggressively. And maybe that's why I got that feeling of a nausea in my chest, because you don't want to admit to yourself how much you've been beating yourself up. And you've been beating this part of you up, and it's literally a pulp. Like, it's turned to a pulp. It's exhausted, and it's really begging for your help. It's been trying to keep its mouth shut. And I think that's why it's so afraid to come to the light to get your attention. because it's afraid of how you're going to react. It's afraid that you aren't going to listen to it. It's afraid of just the consequences of it trying to speak its truth. Both of your truths, because it's part of you. It's trying to show you what you've been doing to yourself. And it's trying to save you from self-destruction in the end. Let's flip these cards over and get some more information here. So how is the shadow, again, impacting pile number 1's life? We have the Earth Mother, also known as the Empress, in this deck. This is one of my favorite cards. I find this such a beautiful card. And this is actually, again, confirming a lot of things. I hope that this card was focused and you're able to see the designs. Next up, you have the Three of Swords. Wow. You know what you're doing to yourself. That's a very random channel message that just came through. It feels like you are aware of this, and that's why it's been afraid to come to light, this shadow of you. It's been whispering in the back of your mind what's going on, but it's like it whispers, it whispers, it whispers. You hear it, but it's like you're not wanting to listen. You're choosing to ignore it. And it feels battered and bruised, and it's tired. But you don't want to listen. So maybe me sharing this is hard for you to hear too. Maybe this reading is giving you confirmation about that little voice in the back of your head. Last card we have here is the High Priestess. Yes, again, before I even looked at this card, I said, you know what you're doing to yourself. The High Priestess is giving me confirmation. The reason why I said you know what you're doing to yourself, by the way, just so you guys know. I was looking at the Three of Swords here, but I saw the crow, the shadow of the crow. Crows usually in different lores are symbolized to be able to see the future or see the past. Like they were kind of like time travelers in a way. And whenever I look at a crow, I think of the High Priestess card. So I just found it funny and ironic and trippy in a way that the High Priestess card comes up right here. This shadow aspect of you is impacting your life by creating some blockages right now. You have been working hard, but you don't understand where some sort of dip in your energy came from. The answer here is very simple. It's very straightforward. I love the way your reading is laid out, how Source just was like, here you go. This shadow is impacting your life because it is kind of on strike right now. It's had enough. It's tired. If you feel like there's been some sort of halt in your growth journey right now, the reason for that is because of the shadow side of you on strike. It's literally protesting its need for rest. It's creating this feeling of blankness in your head that's kind of holding you back from being able to keep going. And a part of you knows this. That's what's interesting about this. It's like you're aware of what's been going on, but maybe you just needed some additional confirmation or clarity on the situation or insight on how it happened this way. And maybe this reading is what's giving you that. But you knew that this is what was happening. You kind of allowed your anxieties and paranoias run your show in life for quite a while. There is a lack of wand energy here. There's a lack of cups. There's no cups, and there's no, like, the suit of cups. There's none of that here, except in the back of the deck. So it's like asking you, in order for your well-being, your mental health, for all these things to keep you thriving so that you can continue moving forward, you need to release this need for validation, recognition. Stop working so hard for the wrong reasons. This shadow side of you is impacting your life right now by kind of putting itself on strike. And it is making you feel like you have some sort of creative block. Maybe you might even feel like you've been trying to manifest whatever it is, and now it's kind of been put at a standstill, and you're frustrated because you have worked extremely hard for a good chunk of time. Maybe within the last year or the last couple of years, I'm hearing this has been something you've been wanting really badly. And now you're just like, what is going on with me? You're being really hard on yourself because of it. But you've always known why this ended up this way, and it's just because you've been working yourself too hard and you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You're too hard on yourself. You're not giving yourself enough self-compassion. The Empress here is also showing to me you are upset with the fact of how tired you actually are. Like, you're beating yourself up for having emotions and having energy. Like, let me figure out how to say this. You know how a battery has its own battery life until it dies, right? It's like you need to recharge your own batteries. And you get like mad at yourself with the idea that you are not immortal. Like you get frustrated with that. Like you just wish that you could keep on going without needing to stop or take breaks on the way there to your end goal or whatever it is. Like you really see yourself as like, I'm not invincible, okay, then I guess I'm a failure. Like there's just so much high expectation put onto yourself that it is very draining. And so the message that keeps coming through that is showing up here consistently, pile number 1, this shadow needs your attention because the way that you've been doing things is not working anymore. This shadow is very, very tired. It's been trying to stay consistent for you for such a long time, but everyone always has their limits. And you haven't allowed yourself to take a rest for quite a while, that now it's gonna feel like you're beat, you're exhausted, and you don't understand why that came up. Well, this is exactly why. You are being called to release it. You are being called to let go of this need to keep going. This can't stop, won't stop mentality is not sustainable for you. Your shadow self knows that, but it's trying to tell you that. It's been trying to tell you that. It wants to be able to work with you to get to where you want to be, because this part of you does help you keep grinding. But it is kind of on strike right now because it knows that the way you guys are doing it, working together, is just not sustainable anymore. It's not working. And if you are trying to overachieve and you continue to try to overachieve, you're not really going to be able to get anywhere. So with that, pile number 1, we're going to dive into the very third section and question here. We're going to move these cards to the side and kind of dive right into it, okay? So we're going to get to see what actionable steps you can take to work with this shadow side of you a little more. And before we dive into that, I really just want to mention one last thing. The Knight of Pentacles is about a card of a person that is able to get exactly what they want. They accomplished it all, right? But the reason for their accomplishment is because they were able to flow through the turbulences of their journey to get to where they want to be. They were able to enjoy the journey, savor those moments, honor them for what they are, gain the knowledge needed, gain the wisdom needed, but also take those pauses, take those breaks when it was necessary. They did it in a way that was self-sustainable and consistent to be able to maintain that energy and the fire in them to keep going and keep pushing forward. There is a lack of that in you right now, pile number 1, because of this wound, because of this trauma, because of the survival mentality you're in right now. This is what the shadow side of you is trying to help you kind of unravel so that you guys can come back together and keep going, keep grinding, keep doing your thing. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear before I move the cards out of the way, okay? So I was planning on everyone having just 1 card of each. You guys are the only ones that got 2 chakras, 2 chakra cards. So I'm just trying to see if I can make this all fit over here. I hope you guys are able to see the cards. I hope they're not too cut off in frame. So we got these cards, the 2 sections we have over here, and we're gonna dive into the very third section. So with this third section, we're gonna be again pulling out 3 tarot cards for what actionable steps you can take to work with the shadow side of yours. And we're also going to start pulling out the Soul True Self-Awareness cards along with the Self-Compassion deck here to get some actionable steps. I love these decks because they really do help you have some tangible goals you can create for yourself. Another reason why I love the Soul True Self-Awareness deck is because it can also provide you some journaling prompts to look into on your own timing after the reading is over. And honestly, just anything else that is going to get plugged in, we're going to check that out with this next part. With this being said, we're going to be shuffling these cards at the very end after we dive into the tarot cards here. We're going to be pulling out again 3 tarot cards for this third section and see what actionable steps pile number 1 can take to work with this shadow side of them. So let's take a look at that right now. So what actionable steps can pile number 1 take to work with the shadow side of them? All right, beautiful. And for the back of the deck energy, we have the Movement of Pentacles, also known as the Knight of Pentacles in this deck. I already love what it's calling you out on. This is great. This is 100% aligning with everything that we saw so far in the last 2 sections. So let us just flip these cards right over and I will get right into it all. I'll dive into all the tea you guys need to know, okay? So for the first card, we have Strength. Beautiful. Next up, we have the 9 of Swords. And lastly, we have the Spirit of Swords, also known as the King of Swords in this deck. Wow. Okay. Pile number 1, looking only at the tarot cards we got here in terms of what actionable steps you can take to work with this shadow side of you right now. It is telling you to take it slower. Keep doing what you're doing, but do it in a way that you know can last. Do it in a way that you know you can have and stick with, and it won't start creating or leaking chaos into other facets of your life. When I look at the Knight of Pentacles here as the back of the deck energy, it's showing to me that there is a huge actionable step you can take right now to work with the shadow side of you, and it is to listen to it. Pile number 1, you need to start being honest with yourself. Be truthful with yourself about how this hard work mentality where you can't stop, won't stop, how much has it been really affecting you? Because this part of you is starting to leak ickiness out into other areas, and it's making you have trouble being able to enjoy the present. There needs to be more self-awareness for how much this has actually been affecting you, and stop being so hard on yourself if it's taken a break, aka the protest, the strike that this shadow side of you is on right now. It's there because it wants you to reassess how you've been doing things and start taking actionable steps to take it a little bit more easy on yourself. You can still keep moving towards your goals and still keep doing what you gotta do, right? But you can do it in a way that's a little bit more sustainable and manageable. What this means is, like, let's say you have a big goal and that goal has been at the forefront of your life and you just keep working and working and working towards it. What would happen if you can break that goal down into little steps? So each mini goal to get to that big goal is something that's worth celebrating and something that you can kind of strive towards in a way that's more maintainable, in a way that's more healthy for your energy reserves and for your mental health and for your emotional well-being overall. How can you focus on the mental, the physical, and the emotional sides of you and bring them together to come together to befriend each other and work beautifully with each other to make your destination a reality, the thing you're trying to get to yourself a reality, but in a way that you know will benefit you in the long run, in a way that you know will help you be able to gain enough wisdom that you can pass down to generations to come. You need to start taking steps to work with your shadow self by just being a little bit more slow, to savor every step you take that gets you a little bit closer to your goal each day. You need to be more willing to celebrate those mini wins and reflect back on the times where you have accomplished things but you shook it off, you shrugged it off because you thought it wasn't good enough. All that stuff is built belief systems you created about yourself, and they can definitely be broken down and rebuilt back up to make you 10,000 times stronger so that you can actually be able to be your own rock during this journey you're going through. You're being called to have more resilience in the way you think. Your thinking pattern that has been beating you up lately isn't doing you any good, isn't providing any benefit or giving any aid to the way you've been doing things, hence why your shadow self is on strike. You are being called in terms of another actionable step you can take, aside from taking baby steps and breaking that bigger goal down into more smaller goals that you can actually accomplish and be proud of, celebrate those small wins. You're also being called to be more aware and have more resilience when those anxiety-inducing thought patterns start coming back up. Have more awareness in yourself to know when they can start creeping back in, and that's something that involves you practicing it and being consistent at trying to master that side of you. You are a very smart, intelligent human, pile number 1. Very, very intelligent. When it comes to the work you do, you come so far in your life because of how smart you are. So be proud of that. I'm giving you a compliment, take it. Because I feel like some of you guys don't like taking compliments either from people because of how hard you are on yourself. Because of that, it's like your shadow self, like your guides are telling you in order to work with this side of you, you need to be more cutthroat with yourself in the sense of what is truth versus what isn't. When you say you're not good enough, are you really not good enough? Like really ask yourself, pile number one, why are you not good enough? You've done so much already that your shadow side is seeing. That's why it's on strike. It's like, dude, take it easier because we're dying a little because of this. But you're not paying attention to the accomplishments you've made. The reason why it's taking a while to get to where you want to be, pile number one, is because you are trying to make sure that everything you do is perfect. And that makes sense, right? But we also need to make sure that through consistency is what helps you get to where you want to be as well. You need to stop second guessing what you're doing. And there needs to be more faith applied into this process. Like you need to be able to integrate the drive that you have to go get what you want in life aligned with passion and your heart and your soul and the energy or the idea of higher purpose. Like there's something magical in what you want to accomplish for yourself, but you need to unlock that magic. And because you're seeing this as sort of like a punishment or like your duty, instead of something that you choose and chose to do and start up for yourself, it's not really benefiting your mental health or your overall view on life. It's creating more stagnancy rather than what you wanted, which was more momentum. What you expected to get out of this mentality was more momentum and like grind vibes, I guess, if that makes sense. But now instead, it's actually giving you the complete opposite. And so you're just being called to start being more positive with yourself. Be your own little cheerleader during this time. That's also really going to benefit you because these thoughts, this way that you've been doing things are just not serving you anymore. Your shadow self knows that. That's why it's come to light to admit it to you. Be blunt with you about it. Be unapologetically honest about it. And it needs you to look at that truth just as much now. Let us take a look and see what cards want to come out for both the self-awareness deck and the self-compassion deck to finish up this section. So what actionable steps can pile number one take to work with the shadow side of them? Ooh, okay. We got one card here, and let us shuffle this as well so we kind of go straight into it. What action step can pile number one take to work with the shadow side of them? Okay, we got two cards out here for you, one from each deck. We have, for the first card that came out from the self-compassion deck, me first. Put down this card and do something kind for yourself. Yes, you need to be more loving to yourself right now. That's why the Empress card came out over here, because you need to start having more self-compassion within your journey. You need to savor the moments that this journey has for you to experience. Live more in the present during your journey to your end goal. Your end goal isn't the only time you get to live life. You get to live life during the time it takes to get to where you want to be. It's just you forgot that. You thought this is supposed to be hard. This isn't supposed to be enjoyable. But then you're doing life wrong. You're surviving. You're not living, right? And your shadow self is coming here to remind you of that, and it put itself on strike here because it's like, look, the way you're doing things is not the way to live. You need to start enjoying this process, not hating on it because you're not there yet. Because then what makes you think you're really aligned with your higher self and you're going to be able to attain everything you want in this lifetime? Like, you need to be aligned with the right frequencies, and you're not yet because you're being too hard on yourself, because you're aligned with a lot of anxiety and fear-based ways of thinking and seeing the world and seeing yourself. And secondly, for the self-awareness card that came out for you here, in terms of what actionable steps you can take, let us see if it is a journaling prompt or if it's another action-based statement for you. Do I believe I am worthy? Wow, this is amazing. And I do think that this is something you guys should definitely reflect on as a journaling prompt. Just let yourself pour out whatever feelings you have about this statement. Maybe it's a yes, but then it's a mix of a no. See what your inner world has to say about it. That is what's going to really help you communicate with the shadow self in real time, and it's what's going to help you do the shadow work in real time after this reading is complete. Let's read this. You are worthy. You are deserving. You are loved. Start seeing the divine beauty within you and go out and claim the life you have dreamt up. Your crown has been bought and paid for. Put it on your head and wear it. Today's soul action. For a big goal or dream you have, ask yourself, do I feel worthy of this? Today's mantra, I am worthy of it all. If you think you are not good enough and you are letting that ideology rule your life and rule the work ethic that you've been maintaining or trying to do in the past, what makes you think that inner drive is going to stick? If it's not aligned with this idea that you are worthy of what you're trying to attain, if you think that you're not good enough for anything, right? Obviously, you're going to start going downhill instead of uphill for where you want to be. And I think this is what's trying to remind you of that. Your shadow self is trying to remind you, look, how hard you are on yourself isn't really working because you're not believing that you are capable. It's like you're doing, what's that word? It's like an oxymoron. Like, I'm not good enough, but I keep thinking that if I keep telling myself I'm not good enough, I'm going to work hard to get to where I want to be. But I still think I'm not good enough for it. Like, you get what I'm saying? There's a big contrast in the way you see yourself versus where you're trying to go. And your shadow side came here, wants your attention right now to help you shift that perspective, shift that mindset so that you can start working towards where you want to be and actually align with its frequency so you can get to your end goal for real. That's why it feels like this journey has been never ending, because you're not really aligned with the right frequency to get there. Wow. And I feel like you know this. It's what keeps coming up, like you've known this to be fact. Maybe you just needed some more insight on it or clarity to figure out what to do. So I really hope this reading is benefiting you guys, pile number one. And lastly, we're gonna shuffle and get one last card here to finish up your reading, which is going to be finding the archetype that will be embodied if you shift the way you've been doing things and embrace the shadow side of you. If you embrace the actionable steps I've given you to kind of take in this video, how will this shadow side of you shift? How will you shift? Let's take a look at that now and pull out an archetype for that. So what will shift for pile number one if they embrace this shadow? Okay, so the card that I feel called to be yours at this moment for the archetype, symbolizing what is going to shift within you if you work with this shadow, if you embrace it, right? The outcome or the potential transformation ahead for you is the gem. How precious. Pile number one, you got the gem. From Alethea, if you honor your truth, the gem will be born. Clarity will come to the surface. You will be able to shine so brightly in this lifetime. And all that fire that you feel like you've been lacking for a while is going to come to light, is going to come to fruition. You are going to become unfreaking stoppable. Pile number one. Let us finish up your reading by reading the little excerpt we have for the gem card. So let us get to it now. For the gem, some keywords: the diamond, the gold, the inner treasure, when light, unique, shining, generative, irreplaceable. There are infinite names for the gem. It is also known as the jewel, the star, the talent, the gift, the gold. One thing for certain is that it is found deep within a substance that is very much unlike it. For example, a diamond in the rough. The gem always stands in contrast to its surroundings. You can't find it when you are among comforts and pleasantries. Precious stones develop slowly deep in the earth, just like the Knight of Pentacles here. Amid pressure and darkness, discovering the gem requires a descent beneath the surface where there is no definitive map. Yet the longing to touch the true gem within us is so strong that we cannot help but seek out its radiance. Your gem, like your destiny, is unlike any other in the entire world. Keep digging. Let's read this little side. The moments of your life that glimmer are clues to where the gem resides. Don't covet the sparkling diamond of another. The gem is like a fingerprint, never to be repeated again. Find yours. And here in mythology, the diamond is often linked to the daemon, or inner light, that leads us toward our true self, our purpose and our destiny, our true self. Pile number 1, our true self. The truth that the shadow is trying to come to light is what's helping you lead you to your true self. Wow. Once you realize how unstoppable you actually are, this is what archetype you are going to get to embody in this lifetime, pile number 1. You're going to get to find your true magic. And I told you, remember that magic only gets unlocked if you align yourself with the right frequencies. As you align yourself with the correct frequencies, by following these steps I provided you with, pile number 1, that is what's going to help you get to the gem. Embody this energy, embody this frequency, become radiant because of it. Because the journey you're on right now is uniquely and solely yours. No one else can repeat the steps you're choosing to take as a free will. What you choose to do with everything I provided you with is completely and entirely up to you. Whether you choose to embody this or not, this is the potential outcome, the potential transformation that awaits you if you do. Wow, pile number 1, this was a very beautiful reading. I really hope that this reading resonated with you. I really hope that you took this reading nice and slowly at your own pace. You allowed yourself to take notes when it was necessary, because a lot of the things that did come through were very deep and very serious and were essential things that had to come to light to help you get to where you want to be. So I really hope that this benefited you in every way, shape, and form. And I feel so special that I got to be a part of your shadow work and self-growth journey towards becoming the best version of yourself. Shadow work can be deep and emotional. So take your time processing these messages, and it's perfectly okay to pause, reflect, and come back to the reading if you need to. If this reading spoke to you, let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to hear how it resonated, or if there was a specific moment that stood out for you. Please don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any other future readings that I will be doing on my channel. And just so you guys know, my channel is not just about pick a card readings, but it is just about series and different videos that are here to help you learn how to become the best version of yourself, weaving science with the things that we cannot see in the world together. I believe in combining it all so you guys have a nice, well-rounded toolbox and your own personal goodies of self-growth tools so that you guys can really step into your power and become the most healed versions of yourself in time. I send you guys so much unconditional love. This is Ahimsa here, and hopefully I'll see you in my next pick a card readings to come. Bye. Hi, pile number 2, and if this is the card that helped you select this pile, being the beautiful archetype of the poet, which is also what is going to show us the energy that's surrounding the shadow side of you that needs your attention right now, then this reading is 100% for you. With that being said, before I start getting straight into it, I just wanted to tell you how this reading is going to be laid out and how we're going to dive into it. So I have done a couple of shadow work readings in my channel so far, but for this one, we're going to do things a little bit more different, a little bit more organized, I guess you can say. For the first section we're going to be diving into is going to be what exact shadow is needing your attention right now. So that's also going to help feed into the archetype that came out for your pile already, as well as the chakra wisdom oracle card that we have here and I shuffled out for you. The second question is going to be, how is the shadow impacting your life, which we're going to be using the yin yang oracle card that I got out for you for that second section. And then for the very third section, we're going to be looking into what actionable steps you can take to work with the shadow side of you, which we're going to be using these 2 oracle cards to shuffle in live action when we get to that portion, which is the self-awareness card deck, as well as my self-compassion deck, which is going to give you some additional steps you can take after this reading is complete. And we're also going to be using tarot for all those 3 sections. For the very final section, we're going to be pulling out one single archetype card, which is the same deck that we use to help you select your pile. That way we're going to get to see the shift within you that will occur, the potential transformation, the potential outcome that can come out of this if you are to listen to everything that comes out of this reading, and if you can embrace the shadow side of you entirely. So we're going to be doing that at the very end as well, okay? So that was a mouthful, but I hope you guys are kind of on the same page with me on how we're going to be doing this. To start off your reading, before we even get into the very first section, I wanted to give you guys some insight on this archetype that is coming up to symbolize your shadow. Right off the bat, when it comes to this poet card, pile number 2, the poet has a lot to do with intuition and clairvoyancy and psychic-like abilities and energy. It's a part of us that exists inside us all, but since it is coming out specifically for this shadow side of you that is wanting your attention, it is showing to me that this is a side of you that is speaking truth, is unveiling something, illuminating something, and bringing something to the surface that you used to shun, or is a part of you that you just don't like to look at, that you doubt very heavily. The term doubt, the word itself, the keyword doubt, is coming through very strongly in my head right now. So perhaps this is a part of you that you doubt heavily, and because of the doubts you hold towards it, you kind of locked it away. That's really what I'm able to decipher or pick up with this one singular card. Let us take a look and see the chakra card that came out for this first section. I'm just going to move this card to the side because this is for the second section. And we're also, again, like I said, going to use the tarot. We're going to pull out 3 tarot cards for each 3 sections here. For the oracle card that is going to show us what shadow is needing your attention, we have with the third eye chakra ruling this card, mysticism, which again, really trippy. I literally just told you what the poet archetype embodies. So there's like mystical energy here. It's literally confirming that to me. There is a part of you that is very spiritual, perhaps. Like it has a spiritual energy to it that you don't like to pay attention towards. By the way, I just placed that card there so we have more space, by the way. Just letting you know. I hope you guys are able to see it. But this is showing to me, pile number 2, that this is a part of you that is very on the woo-woo side of things, on the very, I don't want to say witchy, but it likes to look at the things that you can't see with the naked eye. It likes to ask more questions. It likes to be curious. It likes to dive into things more deeply than just on a surface level of looking at things. And I don't know why, but what I keep feeling is that this is a part of you that you shunned away because it was either like rejected heavily to the public or like your immediate surroundings. Like there was things around you that kind of rejected this side of you or this view or this way of living that you started to reject it yourself as well. Now you like second guess it, you doubt it. There's the word doubt, like I said, keeps coming up, but I am very curious to see what your tarot has to say to plug everything in. So let's just go straight into it. This is something to do with the unseen. This can also be an indicator that your third eye chakra is blocked. It's not in a harmonious state because you aren't allowing yourself to see the bigger picture. Perhaps you're not allowing yourself to be imaginative right now. Like our imaginations also allow us to see the bigger picture on what is beyond the tangible eye. We need to be able to plug into that sometimes when we are in moments of distress. So maybe you're having trouble being able to see the bigger picture right now because you're just too focused on the things right in front of you. But let us take a look and see with the tarot cards what the shadow is here for and why is it needing your attention right now. So what shadow is needing pile number 2's attention? Okay, 1 card out. What shadow is needing pile number 2's attention? For the back of the deck energy, we have the Spirit of Pentacles, also known as the King of Pentacles. Just placing the back of the deck energy here. So to flip these cards over in terms of what shadow needs your attention, for the first card we have the 4 of Wands. Next up, we have the 6 of Cups. This is giving me some clarity here on where this shadow side of you came to life, how it was birthed, how it became a shadow in the first place. It's kind of giving me some background on that. And for the last card, we have the 3 of Wands. The shadow that is needing your attention, when we plug everything together that we've revealed and brought to the surface so far with these cards, with the poet, with mysticism being ruled by the third eye chakra, the shadow that's needing your attention right now is a part of you that has been there during your childhood. It's a part of you that you used to embrace very heavily. The older you got, however, the more that part of you started to get rejected on the outside. It wasn't being plugged into your life the right ways is what I'm hearing. hearing, and that's why you started to doubt it. You started to believe that maybe this is just the part of you that is supposed to be alive when you're a kid. Like you see like kids having big imaginations, but then when you become older, that imagination, that creative side of anyone needs to die or something. I don't know if you were taught that or you started to just think that. It's odd. It just started to diminish as you aged. Somebody or something started showing you a more practical way of living life. I'm just hearing like, go to work, family time, sleep. Go to work, family time, sleep. Or like there's some weird routine or like some weird structure on how to live that you were kind of taught or you started to embrace as you aged or got older. And it kind of made this part of you that was the creative, the mystical side of you, the intuitive side of you, the side of you that helps you feel connected to source or the things you cannot see in the world. You had a really good, I don't want to say instinct because that's more like survival based, but you had a good it's like your third eye was already opened when you were a kid and you were able to hear things or get messages or get random channel downloads on things, and you kind of started to disown that side of you as you aged because of societal ways of doing things. I don't know if you were like raised to be very responsible or like taught to be very disciplined for something. I don't know. I'm hearing some of you guys were like raised into a family business and they were teaching you how to work or like run the show for it so that you guys know how to take care of it when they're gone. I don't know. There's this energy of this being a shadow that was there and it unwillingly went into the darkness the more you started to grow up and believed a certain way of living. How is this shadow impacting your life? Honestly, I'm so curious to see, because with pile number 1, it was a little bit of a mix, like all the sections we dived into, it was all mixed into stuff. Here, it's giving me specifics. It's giving me the basics. So the basics here is what shadow is needing your attention. Let's plug this into the very second section and see how is the shadow impacting your life right now. Because I'm very curious to see, like, what is it doing to you? Because the word doubt keeps coming through. So let's grab the Yin Yang Oracle card that came out for that section and let's flip it over, and then we'll shuffle here and get those other 3 tarot cards out for you. So how is the shadow impacting pile number 2's life? We have limitations and fears. Wow. Well, that is really self-explanatory, but that makes sense why there's doubt. The word doubt. You have self-doubt. You doubt your visions. You're doubting your intuition here. You're doubting your third eye. You're doubting the end goal or the dream. You like daydreaming growing up. There's something where you're just doubting yourself so heavily. You doubt the magic in the world. It's like someone tried to give you a big, cold, hard reality check at one point in your life that made you just think that magic doesn't exist anymore. Because it's not seeable. It's not something you can touch. Okay, let's take a look at the tarot cards here to add into this. Oops. How is this shadow impacting pile number 2's life? All right. For the back of the deck energy on this question, we have the 3 of Swords. Okay, this is a really important message here, pile number 2. So I really, really need you guys, like if you guys don't have anything yet to do this, I do highly recommend that at this point you start taking some notes, writing down anything that is going to stand out to you about with what I'm about to dive into, okay? Because straight up, before I even flip these cards over, pile number 2, this shadow is impacting your life by not being there enough. You shutting it down, you not paying attention to it, you not working with it. It's making you believe that everything that didn't work out for you in your life this far it simply didn't work out because you're not meant for it, or that you're not good enough for it, or that you're you're just bad at it, or you're incapable of achieving it, or that you're just a failure. Like, you're being too cutthroat with yourself, where every time you were met with an obstacle and you tried to a certain degree, right? I'm putting that in quotes because it felt like you tried to a certain degree to what you thought was enough for you to get out to do. And if it didn't work, you believe that that just wasn't meant for you, so you stopped at it and gave up, or you let it go and moved on, or tried to do something else. I don't know. There's like this weird belief here where every time you were met with something and you tried, I'm putting that in quotes, you tried to a certain extent to what you believed was practical of you, what any person would try to do to get out of it. But if it didn't work, you wouldn't try to think of the bigger picture. You wouldn't try to find some extra ways to do it. You wouldn't brainstorm. You wouldn't try to be unique about it or have a more different, unique, out there perspective on it. You just kind of stayed in your box of what you knew on what you could do to try. And if it didn't work, you believed you were incapable. So that's where the doubt started coming to life. Let's flip these cards over now. I just really wanted to get that out of the way because channel messages are random for any psychic, and I want to make sure that I share everything that's coming through to you guys, with you guys. So let's flip these cards over. So how is the shadow impacting your life? For the first card, we have the Hanged Man. Yes, feeding into that, the perspective here. Your view is kind of distorted because you're not plugging your intuition into the situations in front of you. Whatever comes in your way is in your way in life. Like, you're just looking at it from the logical perspective, the practical way of doing things, and you're not thinking bigger enough. Like, everyone's life experience is unique because of free will. And you were kind of trained or taught to believe or programmed or brainwashed. I don't know what this is, pile number 2. It just feels like you were kind of given steps on how to achieve stuff in life, and you've been trying to follow them to the T without creating your own little twist in it that is like the signature of what makes you you. Does that make sense? And this shadow aspect of you, with the Poet being the significator card here, it's like the part of you that adds that magic, that adds that little spark that shows that, oh, this is pile number 2's journey, not X, Y, and Z's journey. Like, this is pile number 2 authentically doing things their own way and their own style to things. I really hope this is making sense, guys. I'm just sharing what Source wants me to say. So hopefully you guys are able to plug in everything I'm saying into your own personal situations as you see fit, okay? Next card we have here is Temperance. Yes, this is beautiful. Okay, so many important messages coming through, guys. I just need you guys to remember that. Please take notes. Again, rewatch this part of your reading as many times as you need to until it kind of clicks and makes sense. For the last card, you have the Heart of Swords. In this deck, it is also known as the Queen of Swords. How is this shadow impacting your life? Pile number 2, it is making you believe that you are incapable of achieving certain things. It's making you believe that no matter how hard you do what you were told to do, if things like this come up and you only work to where you think is practical of you or efficient of you, I don't know, it's weird. I really hope this is making sense, guys, because to me it could come off, I bet some of you guys might be confused, or maybe I'm just like doubting it, but I'm still trusting. Your energy is like making me doubt my own messages that's coming through, guys. But I'm going to continue. It's impacting your life by making you not have the patience required to go accomplish whatever it is you're set out to go do. It's kind of like if it doesn't work out the first time, you think you're not meant for it, when in reality that first time was meant to be a lesson, was meant to give you a shift in perspective, was meant to help you grow and overcome certain bumps that everyone has to experience. Like, we all have our own little personal limitations that Source makes us go through life experiences to look at. And this shadow side of you is a part of you that has a lot of power that can be used if you apply it in your life in the right ways. Because of this belief of, if it doesn't work out once, it's not meant for me type of thing, it's making the shadow work against you in the sense that the mystical side that it holds is making you write a story in your head that you are incapable and that you should keep doubting yourself. And it's becoming a view aligned with fear rather than from love and self-belief that you can accomplish it. When in reality, pile number 2, what was more required of you during these moments when this belief system was getting embedded in you was more patience, more integration of seeing the bigger picture. Like, you had to start opening your perspective to different ways of working with energies in certain situations or scenarios you were in. And you didn't allow yourself to do that because of some weird belief that was implanted in you since you grew up, or something that you learned growing up. I don't know, there was some weird life lesson that you gained and you started applying it into everything you do, and you're starting to realize that that isn't the whole picture of life. There's more things that you were meant to learn, and that part of you that you shunned or disowned and tried to turn into a shadow, which was this big I guess intuitive part of you, very mystical like in nature. It had a lot of knowledge, and it was the thing that helped you kind of take steps back and shift your perspective on certain things when it was necessary. But because you disowned it, it still stayed on the background of who you are, and it started to reshape itself into negative beliefs. And so it was making you become distorted in your thought process. It was making you become distorted in what you think you're capable of accomplishing. When if you just loved it and you tried to work with the unseen and the seen, and you tried to keep the brainstorming there, and you worked with the things that you're good at, the creative skills you have, the things that make you pile number 2. I hope that is making sense. It's like, if you did that from the beginning, you could have been able to overcome certain obstacles you were faced with throughout your life. You just had to shift the perspective. You just had to see it a different way. I'm also feeling like some of you guys don't like what I'm saying. Maybe some of you guys are like, what the hell is she saying? And I'm also hearing, if some of you guys are saying that to yourselves internally, you need to ask yourself, what were the times in your life, or where were the moments in your life where you accomplished something and then another, like it felt like you took one step forward and then another step back at the same time? Like you were like, oh my God, I made it. And then it was like, oh, never mind. Where were those moments in your life, and how did you react to them? Were you proactive or were you reactive during those moments? There's 2 big differences with those words. Being proactive is asking yourself, okay, this is a situation I have in front of me, but these are the tools I have in my toolbox on what I can do to tackle them, right? Were you that way, or did you react towards them and let them defeat you? Let them make you believe that you are lesser than that obstacle. That's what happens the less we look at the bigger picture. If we just look at the things right in front of us, the less we are going to give ourselves breathing room to say, well, there's a lot of different ways we can look at this. At different angles, we can turn it up on its head and see it from that light. Like, there were so many different ways to tackle it, but you were only looking at the practical ways that were right in front of you, or like common sense ways. I don't know, it's weird. Pile number 2. Again, I hope this is resonating. With that being said, I think we got the gist here, right? This is really affecting your ability to keep thriving and keep moving forward. It's making you doubt yourself aggressively. But let's get to the bigger things here. Let's move into section 3 and see what actionable steps you can take to work with this side of you, to help you get back on track in your self-growth journey and the journey that you are on currently in your life. Let's take a look at that now. So I'm just gonna move these cards over to the side here. That way I don't have to clear up the table, and help you be able to plug everything in. Hopefully you guys are still able to see these cards. I'm gonna move these decks to the side because these are going to be the next decks we're gonna dive into for this 3rd section. I tried my best, okay? But with that being said, the back of the deck energies, I'm gonna put them back in the deck. Let us dive into that and see what actionable steps you can take right now to work with the shadow side of you, to help you get back on track to your self-growth journey, right? So with this, we are actually going to be getting these cards out after we look into the tarot. So I'm just shuffling them to reset their energy. I just wanted to let you guys have a heads up with that, in case you're like, okay, why is she shuffling? But we're gonna go into tarot next. All right. So what actionable steps can pile number 2 take to work with the shadow side of them? What actionable steps can pile number 2 take to work with this shadow side of them? For the back of the deck energy here, pile number 2, we have the Ace of Swords. For some odd reason, I just wanted to mention this to you guys. Like, I feel like I'm almost been catching myself from saying pile number 3. I haven't even dived into pile number 3's reading yet, right? I do everything in order, obviously. Because of that, I am, and that weird nudge I keep getting to say pile number 3, I am going to say, like, if this resonates for some of you, if you guys were drawn or torn between selecting pile number 2 and pile number 3 originally, I do highly recommend you guys listen to both readings, just because it does feel like some of you guys are gonna have to weave in both of the messages to really plug in everything that your shadow side that's wanting your attention wants to tell you right now, okay? Just wanted to say that in case some of you guys were feeling torn when you first chose your piles, okay? With the back of the deck being the Ace of Swords, let us now flip over these cards here to see the actionable steps. For the first card, you've got the Innocence of Wands, also known as the Page of Wands in this deck. Next up, you have the Innocence of Pentacles. Ooh, 2 pages next to each other. And lastly, for the third card here, pile number 2, we have the 5 of Pentacles. This is really cool. I like what's coming up here, pile number 2. It's a very straightforward message here in terms of an actionable step you can take. Before we even look at the extras in terms of steps you can take with these 2 decks here, looking at your tarot cards, they're straight up telling me, pile number 2, the step you can take right now to help you work with this energy that wants your attention so intensely right now is to start looking within yourself. Ask yourself if you're actually happy with the work you've done for yourself. Do you feel like there is sparks to your life, that there is magic? Have you not been romanticizing it enough? There is this weird little idea or something that came to your mind's eye recently, or maybe a couple weeks back is what I'm hearing for some of you guys, that came into your head and your mind's eye for a reason. This inspiring idea or something, this thought, the what if thought, there was something there that came into your head because Source was trying to show to you, or your higher self, whatever you believe in, was trying to show to you that there is a different route you can take, that there are different ways you can get where you want to be in life. There isn't just one only single way to get there, the way that you've been taught to get there up until this point. Like, that's not the only way. There is many different routes you can take or different perspectives you can have to get to where you want to be. And the actionable step is to start asking yourself the question of, did that thought I have, what would happen if I really sat with it and wrote it down? Where would my thought process lead me? What would happen if I shifted gears within myself and tried to see if brainstorming with this thought I had, or this little idea, where would it lead me? Where would it take me? Because you're kind of so close-minded right now, pile number 2, because of what you were taught. There's a very specific practical way of doing things that you have been doing, the way you've been doing life recently or for most of your life. And that way has served you up to a certain point. It's gotten you to a certain point, but it still doesn't feel like you're getting to live life yet. It feels like you've been sort of on autopilot, doing things of the ordinary, and it doesn't feel like there's enough magic in your life because of it. And that's why this shadow side of you is wanting your attention, because it is the mystical side of you. It is the side of you that can sprinkle more glitter into your life, make things feel a little bit more romantic and beautiful, and feel like you can wear those rose tinted glasses and savor the moments. The actionable steps is to start paying more attention when you get those random thoughts or those random messages that just feel like a what if in your head. Whenever those moments come, they're coming because they're trying to speak to you. They're trying to show you a shift on how you can see something, on how you can start taking steps forward in your life. Because it does feel like there's a part of you that wants to be explored a lot more, and it has to do with the thoughts that come randomly. These thoughts, they don't really feel like a thought that is repetitive in you. It feels more like it's random, like they feel like a random channeled message that just comes out of the blue sometimes, and you don't know why it's there. It's like a weird gut feeling message thing that just comes out, and you're like, okay, why the fuck did that come out of my head? But it was there. And sometimes you'll just kind of sweep them under the rug in your head instead of actually asking yourself the why behind why it's there. The more you start working with those thoughts, those channel messages, or whatever it is that comes to your mind's eye, and explore them, trying to see how you can bring them to the physical, how can you apply that more into your life, that mentality that you're not doing enough, or that self-doubt you have, that will start to dwindle, because the more you can learn how to sort of infuse your passion, where your passion lies, into the life you have now, that's what's going to make life more worth living for you. And that's what's going to help bring the shadow to light and start to be able to work with you in ways that will actually benefit where you're trying to go in life, rather than work against it, which is filling your head up with illusions and things that aren't actually true, that aren't actually based with any sort of fact. Because there isn't any fact in a lot of the belief systems you have about yourself right now. Pile number 2, it all feels like you're just assuming them to be truth because of the outcomes of certain things that maybe didn't work out in the way you had hoped for, but it's because you weren't opening your mind up to different perspectives. And that side of you that is the poet, that is this archetypal energy of the poet, this is a side of you that would have allowed you to ask more questions. Like if you had listened more to your inner knowing rather than what everyone else was telling you on the outside to be the right way to do things, in quotes I'm saying that is what would have really benefited you, and it is something that can still benefit you, and you can definitely start taking those steps now to start applying that into your life. So I feel like this is something, a part in the reading, that you might have to keep rewinding to kind of hear me say it, because I am feeling like that is exactly what they wanted me to share with you. Now let's take a look and see like those additional cherry on top things you can do to support this healing process of working and integrating the shadow back into your life. Let us shuffle these 2 decks on the side and just see some additional actionable steps you can take to work with the shadow side of you, okay? So what actionable steps can pile number 2 take to work with the shadow side? And let's just shuffle this other deck so we can go straight into them. What actionable steps can pile number 2 take to work with the shadow side? I feel called to give you 2 different self-awareness cards, so I'm going to roll with it. Okay, pile number 2, you guys are the first pile so far that did get 2 of these cards showing up, so let us kind of dive right into those messages before we go into the final section and shuffle to see the shift that can happen within you if you are to embrace everything that I kind of shared with you within this reading so far, okay? So I'm just moving the decks here and let us kind of get right into it. For the self-compassion card that came out, it says, Compassion Comrade. Choose a painful experience from your past. Imagine someone who has a deep well of compassion was there with you in that scene. How would they help, and what would they say? This, I feel like, is something that can extremely benefit you guys. And this is actually aligned a lot with what we dived into so far. So I do highly recommend that you guys pause this video if you haven't already and just write down this little prompt, because I feel like this is something you can 100% do and work with on your own in your own time, but definitely take it at your own pace. I feel like this is going to be a practice that is something that is necessary to take time with, because it might bring up some very uncomfortable things. But remember, this is what shadow work is all about, right? Okay, so I'm going to place this card down and let's go straight into the other cards we got for you. For the first self-awareness card that came out for you, we have, what is my body telling me right now? What is my body telling me right now? Let's read the back. Our body speaks to us. Through physical pain or discomfort, our body sends messages for us to look more deeply. See the trapped emotions, the lurking fears and beliefs that limit you. Listen to your physical body and you will be led to the source of your pain. It's time to get your healing on. How beautiful. Today's soul action: get a book, Heal Your Body by Louise L. Hay, and find the answers toward which your body is guiding you. I guess that is a recommendation for a book. If some of you guys feel called to, you guys can check it out. But I think this is a big indicator that this side of you, the shadow side that wants your attention, has already been trying to speak to you for quite a while. And this is a part of you that is an inner knowing. And that's why it's like, what is my body telling me right now? Your body can have energetic blockages within it that's trapped, and maybe movement is what can help you go through those motions and be more honest with yourself. For the last card we have here that came out for you, pile number 2, in terms of the third section, we have, do I believe I am worthy? You are worthy. You are deserving. You are loved. Start seeing the divine beauty within you and go out and claim the life you have dreamt up. Your crown has been bought and paid for. Put it on your head and wear it. Today's soul action: for a big goal or dream you have, ask yourself, do I feel worthy of this? Maybe write this down. This could be a journaling prompt for you. Today's mantra: I am worthy of it all. Yes, you are, honey. Yes, you are. Wow. Pile number 2, I really hope you guys can see the beautiful actionable steps that I was able to provide you with. I provided you with a lot of different ways of looking into this and diving into this. This could be 2 different journaling prompts for you right here. Actually, you guys got 3. This is a nice, beautiful step-by-step guide on how you can start working with the shadow self with you and integrate it into your life in a way that will benefit you and lead you towards where you want to be, right? With that being said, now let's take a look and see what shift is going to happen within you if you embrace this shadow. And we're going to do just that by getting out another archetype card from this Wild Unknown archetype deck, and see how this shadow, this archetype energy of this shadow is going to shift if you embrace it, what the outcome or the potential transformation that will take place within you will give you, right? Ooh, too many cards, source. What will shift for pile number 2 if they embrace this shadow? Thank you. We got a card out for you guys. And the card we got out in terms of what will shift if you embrace this shadow is the beautiful archetype of the prayer. We're going to be reading from the guidebook here to give you guys that final little message. This is a beautiful card. I love the artwork of this deck, guys. Let's get the guidebook out right now. For the prayer, some keywords or some additional archetypes that align with this archetype is the worship, the reverence, and the homage. When light, offering to be of service, asking for guidance, and when dark, expecting results, self-aggrandizement. I have no clue what that word is, so if you guys want to look it up, be my guest. Go deeper, ask to be of service. I think this statement, when it comes to go deeper, a way you can do this and embody this archetype more, is telling you to listen more to those channeled things that have been coming through. So it's kind of confirming to me how you should continue to do that on your own and start doing that in your journey moving forward. But let us read what it has to say. What is prayer? When are we in a state of prayer and when are we not? To whom or what do we pray? Archetypally, the practice of prayer has been with us since the dawn of time as a remedy for the omnipresent self-centered thinking that spins us toward illusion. Prayer leads us beyond our ego as we move from our little story to the big one. Some say we are in a state of prayer anytime we are not the center of our own thoughts. Others say prayer is a natural result of gratitude. Perhaps it is simply surrender or service. Whatever prayer is for you, this card reminds us of its importance. Get quiet, low, humble, and soft. Bow and touch the ground as your heart lifts to the sky. Though it may be uncomfortable, it is time. Nothing else will do. the poet. This makes so much sense, guys. This is about you connecting to your emotional why. Why are you doing this? Where are you? Because the passion is gone and you want that to come back. That's what's going to help you be able to go through this. If you work with the shadow side of you, the outcome that can come out of this, the potential transformation that awaits you, pile number 2, is to start getting to your emotional why, your purpose, or this feeling of passion within you. Why are you where you are? Why do you want to keep moving forward? Why do you not want to give up? Like, those answers will get answered as you work and take the actionable steps that came through here in your reading today. I'm just going to read the side messages in case there's anything here that stands out for some of you. Every song, kiss, breath, word can become a prayer. It is a feeling, not an action. Consider the ancient mantra, Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. I bow to the creative consciousness within. I bow to the teacher within. Wow. I highly recommend for some of you guys, maybe you feel called to practice this mantra on your own. Obviously, this is the meaning of the mantra written in English. This is a very beautiful mantra. I actually think I might practice doing this for myself because this is very beautiful. If you're trying to connect to your inner knowing, the poet, also known as that in your reading today, highly recommend you guys practice this mantra in your own timing. And for the final little message we have here on the side, experiment with the act of bowing down. Nearly all spiritual traditions make a practice of prostration. Again, I have no clue what that word means. But perhaps this is indicating you to practice some yoga, as yoga can be a very sacred practice you can do for yourself or to your goals that you want to accomplish for yourself. It feels as if you are just being called to reconnect to the inner knowing, the inner silence that knows all. Whether you are agnostic, atheist, or this or that, guys, I need you guys to understand that there is a knowing inside all of us that exists. This knowing within you is what has a lot of ancient wisdom that you can access if you sit and listen to it. Perhaps yoga and doing these things that has been kind of shown throughout your entire reading in terms of steps you can take to integrate the shadow into your life. This is all that can help you do just that. So I really hope that this reading resonated with you, pile number 2. This was a very beautiful reading. Again, I love doing shadow work readings. I love helping you guys become the best versions of yourselves. Honestly, I feel so grateful and honored that I got to do this reading for you today. If this reading spoke to you in any way, shape, or form, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear how it resonated, or if there was a specific moment that stood out for you the most during your reading. Please don't forget to like this video, and if you found it helpful, please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out any future readings that I have to post up here on my channel. Just so you guys keep in mind, my channel is not just about pick a card readings, but it is about any single possible topic you guys can think of when it comes to your brain, how to work with your brain, but all the way down to energetic healing and how to work with your chakra system as well, so that you guys can align with the most healed versions of yourselves possible in this lifetime. Thank you again for being here, and I'm sending you guys so much love and light on your journey. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye. Hi beautiful souls, it is Ahemza here, and welcome to your pick a card reading in regards to which shadow is wanting your attention at this very moment. If this is the card that allowed you to select this pile, the box archetype card, hopefully it will focus for you. Let's see. Yes. Then this reading is 100% for you. And the fact that this card ended up becoming your significator card, it also means that this card is also signifying the shadow that is here wanting your attention as well. With that being said, before we start getting into it all, right, I wanted to go over how we're going to be doing this reading today, just because I have done a couple shadow work related readings in my channel so far in the past. However, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently within this video. It's a little bit more organized, a little bit more structured. That way we are able to really get into all the nooks and crannies when it comes to working with the shadow self, healing these parts of ourselves, and befriending the darker areas and who we are that maybe we tend to graze over because it's easier that way, right? This reading is going to help you be able to get some more clarity and insight on how to overcome all those things today. So with that being said, the way that we're doing this reading, we are going to be moving through 4 different little sections throughout this reading. We're going to be looking into what shadow specifically is wanting your attention, how is the shadow impacting your life, what actionable steps you can take to work with the shadow, and what will shift if you embrace this shadow. In other words, we're going to get to see an outcome or potential transformation that can take place if you kind of follow everything that we dive into in today's video. This is the couple of cards that I was able to get during the preparation portion of the piles, and we're going to be using the Chakra Wisdom Oracle card for the first section in terms of what shadow needs your attention, and this is going to go into the second. And we're going to be using these two decks, the Self-Awareness card deck and my Self-Compassion deck, for the third in terms of actionable steps. And then we're also going to be using the same deck that we use to help you select your pile, the Wild Unknown archetype deck. We're going to try to get another archetype at the very end in terms of seeing how is this going to shift within you, what is going to shift within you if you embrace this shadow. I'm very excited to do this reading for you guys. It's going to be a different way of doing it. And we're also going to be pulling 3 tarot cards for the first 3 questions we're going to look into with that. So now that I was able to get all of that out of the way, make sure that you guys do have a pen and a paper or something that you are able to take notes with, just because usually these readings can be pretty intense and can also be very informative and provide a lot of information and detail into who we are. So I do highly recommend that you guys have something in handy with you to take notes with. That way you are able to gather everything you need from this reading in total, okay? Please make sure that you cherry pick what resonates and leave what doesn't. Everyone is going through something different in life, right? But I can definitely tell right off the bat for you guys, pile number 3, regardless of what you're going through right now, the shadow that is wanting your attention, just by looking at your archetype card, your significator card that came out for you, the box. Pile number 3, this card is all about conforming and confinement, and it's all about feeling stuck in place. There's a stagnancy, there's a feeling of limitations holding you back from being able to push through any sort of barriers that are required of you to be able to level up, to be able to ascend in this lifetime, to be able to align with any frequency that you are seeking to align with in order to attract the life that you want to have in this lifetime. When the box is here, it's showing to me that this shadow has a lot to do with limiting beliefs, self-limiting beliefs, things that are making you believe that you are incapable of getting out of the box. Anything that is on the outside of the box is unknown, it is new, it is scary, and it can leave us feeling very vulnerable on the inside because we're not really gonna have a lot of experience stepping out of the box. But that's also why staying in the box can be so comforting, so much easier. It can provide us more security, and it can kind of give us some illusions into thinking that if we step out of the box, something bad is going to happen. But that is all trickery that happens in the mind. I'm gonna place your significator card up here for now, just so we have space while we dive into the rest of your reading. We're gonna go right into the first section to give us some more insight and see how it combines and connects with the significator card that allowed you to select this pile. So with that, let us take a look at the oracle card that came out for you in this first section, and then we're gonna shuffle up the tarot cards and plug in all the information necessary to see the exact shadow that is needing your attention right now, okay? So with the first card that we got here, we have the sacral chakra ruling this card with the keyword self-worth. I literally, absolutely, this is one of my favorite cards in this deck that I own because of the symbolism. It is just so beautiful how it is freezing, there's winter all around, but there's a warmth just only specifically aimed at this throne. But this person is standing away from the throne like they're hesitant to sit in it. They don't think they are worthy of sitting in that throne, that feeling of superiority. They don't feel like they are meant to be there. And there's a lack of self-worth. So that is giving me a lot of clarity, especially since the fact that this is the box. It's kind of as if what you seek to attain is this throne, this feeling, right? But that is only if you step out of the box. They are stuck in their comfort zone. They are hesitant to go past that invisible line maybe in front of them. I want you guys to kind of plug in whatever resonates, again, leave what doesn't, but let us take a look at the tarot cards and continue to add in to this shadow here. So what shadow is needing pile number 3's attention? What shadow is needing pile number 3's attention? For the back of the deck energy, we have the Spirit of Swords, also known as the King of Swords in this deck. And if I did not mention it, the tarot deck that I'm using for today's video is the Naked Heart Tarot. I'm just gonna place the back of the deck energy here because we're gonna need this deck again for the second section. All right, so the cards that we received here is the Three of Swords. By the way, please excuse any black ash you see on my fingers. That's just from Palo Santo I burn before every reading I do. Right off the bat, pile number 3, I do want to say I feel like you are already familiar with this shadow side of you. I'm hearing a very specific message that some of you guys have already been trying to work with this shadow aspect of you before you even clicked on this video. So that's just a random thing I wanted to put out there, but let us continue. For the next card, you have the Six of Swords. The symbolism in these cards, guys, is just absolutely insane. I love this. I will get into it in a moment. Let's just get the last card out, but this is very aligning with the significator card you guys received. And lastly, you got the Eight of Swords. Wow. So pile number 3, in terms of what shadow needs your attention, you received purely air element. You received purely sword suit, the suit of the swords here. So there is a lot of stuff going on with the mind, limitations, like I told you, a lot of logic, and it's kind of painting over the truth. There's a lot of anxiety mixed in with this shadow side of you. It can very much seep into any cracks and crevices of what makes up who you are, to the point where it can leave you vulnerable of receiving. This is very channeled, guys. I'm just letting you guys know. If it doesn't resonate, let go of what I'm about to say, but it feels like some of you guys do get psychic attacks. There's a lot of cracks and crevices to the core of what makes you you right now, that makes you kind of left vulnerable to being more prone to psychic attacks, or like vampire people, like people that kind of suck up your energy. You might attract a lot of people in your life that kind of drain you energetically or emotionally. You feel very deeply for people, or it's like you don't even try. You can like walk into a room and just kind of soak up whatever energy is there. You might have trouble learning how to work with that ability you have as well. And it's because this shadow side of you is kind of gone rogue in a way. It's kind of gone AWOL. It's not able to comprehend that you yourself are secure, that you yourself are safe, that you can take care of yourself. I feel like there is a huge lack of belief in what I just said. Maybe you doubt that you're able to take care of yourself, pile number 3, because from what I'm seeing here, and the fact that the King of Swords showed up as the back of the deck energy, what shadow is needing your attention is a shadow whose focal point is really specifically on self-preservation for you. It's always trying to look out for you. It's always trying to have your back, but it can go to extremes to ensure that you are okay, to the point where it can leave you second guessing yourself a lot, overthinking things to the point where you can create burnout for yourself just by thinking so heavily and strongly about things, or so intensely. It's created a lot of mental chaos, because it's like every time something didn't happen, or you try to dip your toe into unknown waters for the first time, and then maybe something throws you off guard, the stronger and stronger this shadow side of you got, because it kept thinking that every time something unexpected happens, that there's also danger, there's a threat. There's a lack of self-assurance here that the shadow kind of feeds into you. It can start to really mess with your head into thinking if you are safe or not, and it can create a lot of paranoid thoughts. There's a lot of rigidity that might exist in your life right now because of how much of a hold this shadow side has on you right now, pile number 3. Let us take a look and see the second section, which we're going to do right here at the very bottom. How is this shadow specifically impacting your life right now? Because I feel like that's going to really help us plug everything in, because we're seeing the mental turmoil here, right? What's interesting here, actually, pile number 3, before I even look here, I completely almost forgot to mention this to you, because I remember I said something about the Six of Swords when I was showing it to you and how much it aligns. I forgot to mention that. I'm going to bring this up. The Six of Swords here with the sea turtle, and the way that it's creating some sort of gate gate. It looks like a gate is opened with the swords shaped that way, and it's trying to flow through it. There is a state of transition that this shadow wants to help you overcome, but the only way that you guys can really genuinely swim to calmer waters, you guys need to do it together. There needs to be a proper integration of this shadow side of you and the light aspect of you, because right now it does kind of feel like the thoughts, there's a lot of paranoia that is existing inside of you, and it's because you have sort of allowed this shadow aspect of you to kind of run the show for quite a while, and it needs to take a step back, and it needs to remember that you are the light and it is in the dark. It is meant to be the background. It is meant to help you plug in different strengths and learn different weaknesses about yourself so that you can keep refining who you are and step into the best and most highest version of yourself you can possibly embody. That takes time, but at the same time, on the other side of the coin here, it does feel like there's been a lot of self-limiting beliefs clouding your judgment on what you're actually capable of achieving and accomplishing in this lifetime. It's made you take a step back from the driver's seat of your life. It might even feel like you've been kind of living on autopilot for a while, and that's what has given this shadow an opportunity to kind of go in the spotlight and go a little bit rogue. It's kind of taken over your train of thought. It's kind of made you doubt yourself way too much to the point where it's hard to see, oh wait, like I'm stuck here, but I can technically step out of this box whenever I want. It's like you put yourself in there because of how hard you thought about it and believe these things, and it started to make you believe that that is your reality, that that is the narrative that your life story is on, and it's not true. Like, you're the one that gets to pick up the pen and write your own destiny, right? That's why free will exists. And it feels like we've forgotten that because this shadow has been kind of in the limelight for so long. So I am seeing, in terms of an actionable step before we even get into that section, it does feel like there's gonna have to be a need to wake up and remind yourself who's really in charge here. Like, I am the creator of my reality. I am the creator of my life, of my destiny type of thing. But that's just kind of what I'm sensing. We're gonna see what the cards have to say with that. But I am getting a little bit too ahead of myself. So let's take a look at the second section now, okay? Remember guys, by the way, this is the back of the deck energy. So I'm gonna move it a little bit further away so you guys can see the differences. For the second section, we're gonna now look to see how is the shadow impacting your life. So let us flip over the Yin Yang Oracle card that we got out for this. We have present, abundant, and gratitude. Let us shuffle. I do want to mention here, it does feel like there is horizon, right? From how I'm seeing this card. I don't know if it's too dark if you guys are able to see, but it does look like there's some sort of pathway or something that this being is seated on. But it does look like there's a lot of things that are still unknown when they look forward, when they look beyond the situation in front of their very eyes. It's kind of how this being is staring out into the horizon, right? There's similar colors here. And this is giving me a notion of, this is impacting your life because it's making you think that the point that you've gotten up to is all you can get up to in this life. Like, there's no more things to experience. Like, there's nothing else out there for you except what you've already witnessed and experienced at this point, which is inaccurate, obviously. But let us plug in the tarot cards that come out for this now too. So how is this shadow impacting pile number 3's life? How is this shadow impacting pile number 3's life? All right, so for the back of the deck energy, we have the 9 of Cups. Yes, 100%. And this also aligns with the Oracle card where it says abundant in the center. This has a lot to do with that, as well as the keyword gratitude. And I will get into that in a moment. But let us flip over the other cards first. So for the first card you received, we have the 10 of Pentacles. Again, abundance, abundance, abundance is literally screaming in this portion of your reading. Next up, we have the Star card. Yes. And lastly, we have the Spirit of Wands, which is also known as the King of Wands in this deck. This shadow is impacting your life because it is making you think that there is nothing beyond what you've already seen. It's as if there is a veil in front of you, and it's making you sort of believe that, oh, well, you don't have to be curious. You don't need to try to look beyond what this veil is. There's a reason why you can't see forward, and it's because you are incapable of seeing forward. When in reality, this is the shadow that put that veil over your head in the first place. I hope this is making sense because you kind of allowed it to take over the limelight for so long because of so much paranoia. It's very likely though, pile number 3, that something did happen in your past that led you to believing that your power isn't a thing. Perhaps someone was in control of your life for quite a while in the past. It does feel like some of you guys might have been in some sort of not the best relationship. I'm gonna say toxic. I was gonna say a different word that starts with an A. Hopefully you guys know what I am trying to refer to. I don't want YouTube to hate me for it, but yes, you can fill it in. Toxic, I'll just say the other word. It has made you believe that you are not as powerful as you really are, because this person made you kind of get brainwashed into thinking that there's a weakness in you. Because all these cards just keep pointing to destiny. You are the creator. You get to create your own trajectory. You get to choose where this compass is going to turn to, is what I'm trying to say. All you have to remember is that you're the one that can pick up the pen and rewrite your story. You can create a new chapter. You can end whatever you're in now and move forward. It's really up to you. There has been a huge forgetful energy here that is making you believe that you are incapable of something and that you are not able to go out of this box. When in reality, you 100% are. There is a reason why this box came into your life in the first place, and it is meant to help show you what you're really capable of. It's supposed to help reinstill hope. What I'm also hearing is that this reading also came into your life, pile number 3, to remind you how powerful and how much you really are light, because you are a being of light, and that shadow is not meant to be in the light. This shadow is reigned over your life for far too long, and now it's time for you to say, okay, thank you for showing up when I needed you, but now I'm ready to come back into my light. I'm ready to put the crown back on my head, and I'm ready to start taking action, because I am seeing that there is fear, but the fear is always going to be there, and that's the hard truth. It's like, if you really want to try to step out of your box, your comfort zone, and go experience something new, I need to tell you straight up, pile number 3, there's never going to be a right time. And your anxiety might also be trying to say, like, I'll know when to do this or whatever. There's gonna be no right time. There's no right time for this stuff. And our brains are gonna keep putting us in a loop because it was built for our survival in the first place to make us think that, yes, like, there will be a right time. But in reality, that is just procrastination. That is just another way to make up excuses to forget who's really in control. Feelings are just feelings. We get to decide if we want to give a lot of our power away to these feelings, and we get to make that decision at the end of the day. So you need to remember, as long as you can practice more awareness, pile number 3, that you are the one in control here, that you are the one who is willingly giving up this ability to step out of the box whenever you want, because your emotions are scaring you or something. You're the one that's doing that to yourself. And just know that everything I say in this types of readings, they aren't meant to sting and hurt you on purpose. They are meant to give you clarity. And I try to give readings that are honest, straight up, so that you get to really dissect anything that comes up. And also because I believe that we are all deserving of the truth, right? We do not want to be sugarcoating. I do not want to be giving you guys what you want to hear. I'm giving you guys what is coming up from what source wants me to channel from me to you, right? So I'm just wanted to remind you guys of that. If anyone is getting triggered right now, I send my love out to you. Just know that when we are getting triggered, that is not a bad thing. Triggers are meant to show us the areas in who we are that we are meant to pay more attention to. The only reason why they trigger us when we first feel it is because it's new. It was unfamiliar to us. We didn't recognize it for quite a while. So when it's new, it's like, oh, like a little shock, like a little surprise. But it's in reality, triggers aren't meant to be something we're supposed to run away from. They're meant to be things we need to investigate further. And it feels like this shadow is helping you investigate a really big wound that needs some healing, that needs your attention, that needs your love and nurturing right now. Let us take a look and see what actionable steps you can take right now to work with this shadow side of you. We got to see what shadow is wanting your attention specifically, and we got to see how it's impacting your life. But let's get to the good stuff, right? We don't want to feel this anymore. At least some of you guys are ready to take action, right? So let us take a look at that right now. I am just going to move these cards to the side, and I'm going to slide these decks out because these are going to be the next decks we're going to dive into. I'm going to put the back of the deck energies back inside this deck, and hopefully you guys are able to see a decent amount of the cards on the side. I apologize if there is cutoffs. I am still trying to figure out the proper setup for my readings as I move forward, because I did just basically move a couple months ago. Hopefully it's not terrible, okay guys? Thank you for your patience. Let me get everything set up here. So in this third section, like I said, we are going to see the actionable steps you can take to work with the shadow side of you. So let us take a look at that right now. The way that we're going to do this, as you saw earlier, we did look at the oracle cards first, but instead we're actually going to look at the tarot first and use these cards as like the additional cherry on top guidance, things you can take for yourself at the end of your reading once your reading is complete. Because sometimes these cards provide us like with journaling prompts, it provides you with more questions you can really sit with in your own timing once this video is done, right? So let us take a look now. What actionable steps can pile number 3 take to work with this shadow side? The back of the deck energy we have here is the Ace of Swords. Beautiful. I love the fact that this just came up. It's a straightforward answer in terms of a step you can take. And the first thing I'm going to say straight up, be honest with yourself. Ask yourself the hard to ask questions regarding the situation, regarding these fears that are really holding you back and making you believe that you are incapable of getting out of your comfort zone and that there isn't anything else to life than what you've already experienced this far. Because there is something, some sort of experience that happened to you in your past that is very, very much extremely linked to this belief that you have. It's like the core of the belief, so you need to do some reflecting on your own and try to figure out what that is. And I do highly recommend that you do some mind mapping for that. If you guys do not know what that is, I will add a card to that video that I am referring to at the top. That video is going to help you learn how to do some mind mapping if you've never done that on your own. It's also there to help you cultivate awareness for overcoming self-sabotage, because it does feel like this is going to be something you need to do some mind mapping for, and I really hope that that does benefit you. But let us take a look at the rest of your cards you got. So for the first card you received, you have the 5 of Wands. Yes, it's like challenging the beliefs that are there. Next up, we have the Spirit of Cups, also known as the King of Cups. And lastly, we have the 10 of Swords. Okay. Yes. Pile number 3, in terms of actionable steps you can take, it's very, very clear. You need to start investigating your inner world right now to come to terms with where this belief has stemmed from. There needs to be a remembering of the core memory or the core experience that you had in this lifetime that led you to building this belief system. Once you are able to pinpoint it, it is what is really going to help you start challenging the beliefs that you may have already inside you that are a lot stronger than any positive ones. Once you find that core memory, the core experience that led you to developing this for yourself, you're going to be able to kind of work from the inside out to start deconstructing it from the inside out. And that's what's going to give you the advantage and the leverage to be able to do it successfully, so you don't have to try doing it all over again. Because I am seeing, like, okay, very random specific channel message, might not resonate with everybody, but what I am seeing, at least a vision in my head, some of you guys have tried to do affirmations in the past, or mantras, or some sort of law of attraction, or something with the laws of the universe, or something with trying to do some positive self-reinforcement or positive self-affirmation of some kind to flip the script on its head, but it wasn't working. And I'm hearing the reason for that is because you didn't get to the root of it. You weren't able to actually pinpoint where it actually came from specifically. I'm also hearing some of you guys believe that a certain experience you had was the culprit of it, but I am also hearing some of you guys need to dig a little bit deeper, because it's much more rooted in who you are from like childhood memory of some kind is what I'm hearing. But but relationships did play a big key role. Something to do with love life for some of you. I'm hearing there has something to do with a person that led you to building this belief system and made you start thinking that this box is all there is to life, when in reality, that's not the case at all. Secondly, another actionable step, pile number 3, I am hearing that you should start giving yourself more permission to feel your feelings and move through emotions when necessary. I'm hearing some of you guys do struggle with letting yourself feel. It's like you're kind of stiff. You don't like to seem weak. You feel like it is a weakness to be emotional. I'm hearing that some of you guys need to let out some sort of cry. It's kind of like there's an inner child in you that's wounded. It wants to scream and kick and lose it for a little bit. And I feel like you need to give yourselves permission for that, but the feelings aren't there because you kind of locked away this true core experience that led you to developing this box mentality. It's what helps you start finding the key to being able to do this and unravel all of this for yourself. Because I do believe that if you are willing to cultivate enough awareness and you start putting in the right steps to do this for yourself, once you are able to find it and then cut it in its tracks where the initial source started to grow from, that is what is really going to benefit you the most, pile number 3, because then you're going to have a full-on understanding and grasp around what actually led you to developing all this stuff in the first place for yourself. All these self-limiting beliefs that the shadow is really rooted in self-preservation for. All that was developed out of a wound of some kind. It's about trying to pinpoint it and find where the source is that's led you to developing all this for you. With that being said, pile number 3, let us take a look and pull out a card for each deck I have here and get some final messages. Maybe this will give you some more things you can do at the end of the reading. Okay, we got one card out. Thank you, Source, for that. And let us get another one out here. What actionable steps can pile number 3 take to work with the shadow side? Okay, pile number 3, I felt called to pull out 2 cards for you here. So I'm going to roll with it. If you guys did feel called to pile number 2 as well, this was just me randomly sharing this in case some of you guys were pulled to it. They did also receive 2 self-awareness cards, so perhaps that's a confirmation that you guys should also check out pile number 2 to plug in all the information that you need to really gain out of this video today, okay? Let us take a look at these cards now. Pile number 3, for the self-compassion card you guys received, you have Warm Fuzzy. Let us make this focus. Thank you. Place a hand gently on your heart, arm, or cheek. Take a moment to just feel the sensations and emotions that arise. Okay, so this is giving me confirmation where I said we need to give ourselves more permission to feel what's coming up. And this has a lot to do with sacral chakra energy as well. So perhaps giving yourself more permission to let your body move more like water in your own alone time, in your own sacred space, if you get the chance to. Pile number 3, I do feel like this is kind of a nudge in the direction for you to get some headphones or earbuds or whatever you guys have, play some music and just allow your body to move. Cover the mirrors. Don't let yourself look at the mirror because that's going to make you feel like you need to control how you look and feel, right? We want to make this movement all intuitive. Allow yourself to have that opportunity to see what it feels like to move fluidly and not let yourself feel like you need to look contained or reserved or play a certain part. Because if we can do this in a sacred space all by ourselves, we can let ourselves be unapologetically us and allow our bodies to move in the way that they feel called to in that time. And I feel like this is a really big invitation for you guys specifically to go do that. For the last 2 cards you guys have for this 3rd section, in terms of actionable steps you can take to work with the shadow side, you have, am I on the right path? And the back of the card says, sometimes we second guess what we are doing. We lose trust in the process and question if we are even on the right path at all. Know this, you are on the right path. Keep going, keep believing. Keep remembering that you made a soul contract that you are currently fulfilling in every area of your life. Even if you can't see it, that doesn't mean it's not real. Today's soul action. Today, search for all the ways you are aligned with your soul's purpose. The signs will appear. Let this newfound trust fuel your next steps. Let this newfound trust fuel your next steps. I love this sentence for you because it feels like there is this feeling of hope trying to be reborn inside of you. Not to mention that we did get the star card here. That is a big indication that you are really trying to do this. And I think that's why I don't know if you guys remember mentioning this at the beginning of your reading earlier. I was saying it feels like this shadow self, you have tried working with it before, or like you're familiar with it. So perhaps you have already been trying to make this hope, to see light at the end of the tunnel again. Like you are trying to step out of your box. So I am proud of you for that, pile number 3, and I do applaud you. So I really hope this reading is giving you some more insight on how to do just that, because I do see you guys already did take some steps for yourself. All right, for the last card we have here in this section, we have What Can I Burn? And the back of the card says, burn it all. The ugly lies, the pain, the shame, the criticism. The images that run through your head, the reminders of what you did wrong, and the proof that you are not enough. Burn, baby, burn. Your soul is calling. It's time for a rebirth. You are like the phoenix rising from the ashes, no longer attached to the past. You are free. Your wings are ready. Use them. Today's soul action. Make the choice that you will no longer let the past define you. Pick up your pen. Oh my God, pile number 3, I've been saying this in your reading repetitively. Pick up your pen. What will your next chapter look like? Holy moly, I am tripped out. Pile number 3, please shoot me a comment down below and write down, pick up your pen if you guys listened to up to this point. If you guys are with me in the freaked out stage, I shuffled this live in front of you. I shuffle all my cards live, but I literally could not stop repeating, pick up your pen. You have a pen. You gotta just remember that you're the one in control of writing your story. This is so beautiful. Wow. Wow. I'm speechless, guys. I feel like there's nothing else for me to say here because this is all just connected. I feel like Source was really trying to speak to you. I think your guides are really like strongly connected to you right now because it does feel like this is all synchronistic like. And not only that, but it also just feels like you have been trying to do this already. Like this isn't you starting from nothing. This is you trying to build upon what you've already tried to start implementing. So, you know, not a lot of people do that for themselves. So I do applaud you. Like I'm happy that you clicked on this video to gain more insight on it instead of just trying to start from cold turkey, if that makes sense. Like there was a seed already planted in your head before you clicked on this video. So that's beautiful. But lastly, pile number 3, let us pull out the final card to finish up your reading to see what will shift if you embrace everything that we talked about, if you take these steps that are required of you to give this shadow that is wanting your attention right now the things it needs to heal and befriend you, to work with you in the right ways, right? Let us see. So what will shift if pile number 3 embraces this shadow? And the card that we have here in terms of the potential outcome or transformation, we have the empty room. This is very trippy considering that it has that box-like shape, but it's emptied now. It's like it's mute. This is very like cool contrast, guys. Let us read what the booklet has to say regarding this archetype together. The empty room. Some additional archetypes that align with this is the vortex, the abyss, the nothing. The empty room haunts us all. It is the universal and all too frequent feeling of lack, of wanting, of the craving to fill ourselves with something, anything. We too often attempt to remedy the discomfort of the empty room by any means necessary, leading us to a culture of more. Ironically, the empty room is filled to the brim with potential, yet we perceive it as not enough. This card is a cry for patience, for sitting within the barren walls of not knowing, for awaiting true vision and purpose before attaching to what we, in quotes, should do next to save our outward appearance. Be with the nothingness. Be with the impatience. The empty room has immense power. Let others wonder what you are doing. If you can settle into the magic of emptiness, you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom. Spaciousness, potential, possibility. When it's dark, addiction, insatiability, more for more's sake. And the words on the sides here. A day of silence is a surefire way to harness the power of the empty room. And lastly, the archetype of the empty room is also portrayed as the hungry ghost, always feeding and never satiated. Satiated? I hope I pronounced that correctly, guys. Pile number 3, the empty room is coming up here to indicate to you that you are about to go through a huge healing journey on the inside. Perhaps your body and your soul is preparing you for a dark night of the soul. And that's why you already started taking some leaps into this. Because usually when shadow work is beginning, and perhaps this is the first time you're really breaking through the surface of it, this is where a lot of the uncomfortable stuff is going to start coming up. But what's actually really ironic here is that in the box, this archetype, it is about being okay with that discomfort. Once you take your first step out of the box, it's like a whole new world, but it is very uncomfortable and it isn't fun to process, but it is part of the process. It's part of it all. It's part of this journey. It's part of leveling up. Leveling up isn't supposed to be comfortable, or else we'd all be where we want to be in life, right? Most of the time, people choose to stay in their box because it's easier, because it feels safer, when in reality, there's no emotional fulfillment there to be found. The fact that you receive the 9 of Cups in the earlier portion of your reading is a big indicator to me, pile number 3, that you are able to achieve much more than you realize in this lifetime, that there is more potential to get to those hopes and dreams you may have had when you were younger. I feel like some of you guys have a little bit of a fairy tale dream for yourselves that you doubt, that you think is just in the movies, but in reality it is very, very possible for you to attain in this lifetime. It's just about stepping out of your box to see the bigger picture, to see the other potentials that lie beyond that veil. Take off the veil. This shadow was the one that put it over your head. It was like kind of gaslighting you into thinking that there isn't more to life than just what's in here, when in reality, life is vast. The universe is vast. Earth isn't the only planet that exists out there, guys. So it's like, try to see it in that metaphor. Ask yourself, if I really see my life in just this rigid box, what else could I be missing out on? And what can I burn is a beautiful way for you to burn whatever has left this empty room not being so empty right now. Release it. And the only way you can do all this is by finding the pinpoint, the source experience, the core experience that led you to building all this stuff in the first place for yourself. What led you to building this box-like mentality? With that, that's something you guys have to find out. So like I said, I do highly recommend you guys check out that video I have at the top section here. In that video, I go into everything I personally use to cultivate awareness during my own personal healing journey. So I really hope that does benefit you, for anyone that does feel called to watch that at any time. Thank you so much for spending your time and energy with me today. And remember, shadow work can be deep and emotional. So just make sure you take your time processing these messages. If this reading spoke to you, definitely let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear how it resonated. If you also think this reading definitely did resonate as well, give this reading a thumbs up, because the engagement you guys do here does really help my channel support my channel's cause, which is to help make this world a better place by starting with you guys, the viewer, to heal, become the best version of yourselves. And in my channel, I try to give you guys all the self-healing tools you need in your own personal little toolbox to become the best version of yourselves. I really hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day. I send you guys so much unconditional love. I'm so proud of how far you guys have come. It was my honor and it was a pleasure to do this reading for you guys and to be a part of your shadow healing journey. This is Ahimsa here, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next videos to come. Bye. Hi, pile number 4, and welcome to your reading. If this is the card that helped you select this pile, the beautiful shaman archetype in the Wild Unknown Archetype deck, then this reading is 100% for you. And not to mention that this card which was the card that helped you select this pile, is also going to be the card that is going to help us see the archetype that identifies with the shadow that is wanting your attention right now. The way that we're going to be doing this reading, we're going to be dividing it up into a couple different sections. So with your significator card, along with the chakra wisdom card that I have over here that I actually ended up selecting through the preparation portion of this video, we're going to be looking in to see what shadow is needing your attention. So that is going to be the first thing we're going to dive into. Secondly, we're going to look at how this shadow is impacting your life, which is when we're going to use this yin yang card that I got out here. The third section we're going to look at is what actionable steps you can take to work with the shadow aspect of you that is wanting your attention, which is when we're going to use these two decks I have over here, which is my self-compassion deck and the soul truth self-awareness deck. Lastly, at the very end of your reading, we're going to pull out one final archetype card, which is the same deck that was used to help you select this pile in the first place. We're going to pull out a final card and see what shift can occur within you, what potential outcome or potential transformation can take place if you embrace this shadow, if you do everything that we talk about and we're going to dive into in your reading for today. If once you are able to do it all, what potential transformation will take place within you, we're going to find that out at the very end. Now that I was able to get all that stuff out of the way, let's dive right into this. Now, with the shaman card, pile number 4, the shaman is one of the most powerful archetypes, in my own personal opinion, that you can find in the Wild Unknown archetype deck. The shaman archetype requires a lot of different facets of what makes us human to be able to embody it to the fullest. The fact that the shaman card is the archetype that's showing up to symbolize and signify your shadow, the shadow that is wanting your attention right now, is giving me a very clear and straight up indicator that this is a shadow that is very, very essential for any sort of leveling up or transformation or ascension that you must undergo in this lifetime. Like, this is a shadow that you need to work with in order to transform, in order to level up, in order to go through some sort of necessary death and then rebirth cycle to get to where you want to be, or to overcome some sort of hump in your life right now. It feels like there's something that is a challenge in front of you, and this is like the missing key. It feels like this shadow is like the missing key that's gonna help you get from A to B more swiftly. Like, it's gonna help you cross the bridge from the past to your future, if that makes sense. I really hope this is clicking for some of you guys, and if I did forget to mention, which I do believe I did, please make sure that you guys have something to take some notes with, just because these readings can bring forward a lot of clarity, a lot of information, and a lot of things that will help you be able to plug in something that maybe you've been trying to figure out on your own, and this will just give you some more clarity and insight on that situation, okay? Let us start taking a look at the cards we got here. Before we dive into the tarot, let us take a look at this chakra wisdom card we got for you, and it is a card ruled by the heart chakra with the keyword wisdom. Yes, again, big confirmation. If you guys don't know what shamans are, highly recommend you guys look into them. They are like the mystical teachers. They are like leaders of the underworld type of thing when it comes to different cultures around the world. It does feel like there is a big confirmation that there is a missing link here that you're not able to access without this shadow working with you to get there. It feels like it's a missing link to something, really. Interesting. Now let's shuffle the tarot cards and connect it all together. So what shadow is needing, let's reset this. What shadow is needing pile number 4's attention right now? What shadow is needing pile number 4's attention right now? All right. So for the back of the deck energy, we have the universe. Wow, that's so beautiful. And this is also known as the World card. Okay, so I'm just going to place the back of the deck card over here because we are going to need this deck for the second section. And the cards that we got here for you in terms of what shadow is wanting your attention, we have the Movement of Cups, also known as the Knight of Cups. Secondly, beautiful, the Star card. If some of you guys felt drawn to pile number 3 and pile number 4 when you were trying to select a pile, I feel like this is a confirmation that you guys should definitely check out pile number 3. And lastly, we have the 5 of Wands. Pile number 4. The shadow that is wanting your attention right now is a new shadow that you're not necessarily very familiar with. It's a shadow aspect of you that was really shut down for a really good chunk of your life. It didn't come to the surface for many things because of how much you avoided its call. It did try to connect with you or get in contact with you in the past, but every time it tried, you would ignore it. It's like as if I'm picturing someone plugging their ears and refusing to hear it. And it reached a point where it stopped trying. However, something in your life happened recently that has triggered this shadow to come up. And now it's trying to call out to you again. And this time it's trying a little bit harder. The shadow that's wanting your attention right now is a part of you that has more life inside of it. It has more motivation, I guess you can say, or more like spark, more oomph. I don't know how else to describe it. The energy that I'm sensing with this shadow is a aspect of you that is very lively. It's very like light. It's not a heavy energy. Normally with shadows are aspects of us that we tend to lock away, or they get developed over time based off of a wound or trauma. With this shadow side of you, pile number 4, it feels more like an aspect of you that makes life more magical, but it's also an aspect of you that helps you see beyond the white noise. I don't know if you were surrounded by people in your upbringing that gave life a bad taste in its mouth. I don't know how else to explain that. Like, it feels like you were around people that were kind of pessimistic in nature. They saw the cup half empty rather than half full, and they saw the world as like bad. They didn't think that exploring it was worth their time, and they kind of cared more about security and survival and stability or something like that. This shadow side of you, though, is a part of you that was very evident when you were a kid until it wasn't anymore and you started to lock it away. Something in you made you start thinking that it wasn't an important piece of you enough to make you shut it down. And then you became more practical, and then you became more adult-like, more mature. Something happened that led it to having to deactivate, I guess you can say. And that's how it became a shadow. It was part of you though. It was part of the light attributes of what makes you, but then it had to become a shadow because you avoided it. You deactivated it for so long. It didn't really have anywhere else to go but in the dark. It's like it eventually started to transition to a shadow. I did forget to mention, by the way, with the universe card here and the shaman and how this arm is like out in the abyss. It feels like the universe at the same time, like its hand is in the universe's mouth, if that makes sense. It kind of feels like you naturally have very strong psychic abilities, pile number 4, and this shadow attribute helps you be able to tap into that more. At the end of the day, technically speaking, we are all able to access these psychic abilities of ourselves, but some people are more inclined to getting into it more easily than others, depending on how open their third eye is and things like that. With you guys, it feels like this shadow aspect of you that was once a light attribute, it had a lot of ability to help you see beyond the noise of maybe old narratives that people try to fill your head up with. Like, it was able to see past that. It was able to see the truth of things and see beyond illusion. Ever since you deactivated this part of you though, it's easier for people to mess with your head. It's easier for people to tell you what's real and what isn't. And it's easier for you to be like, okay, I'm gonna listen because that's what's being said to me at this time. And I don't really have any other evidence or facts or nothing else to give me more information aside from what this thing is telling me. So I'm just gonna go with it. Like, I kind of felt like you were able to be led astray for a good chunk of your life. Something happened that woke you up a little bit, ticked you off or something that made this shadow want to come back up and say, yo, let me be reborn. Let me me reconnect to you. Let me come back into the light with you. Let us work together so that we can overcome this thing together. It does feel like there's something here where you lost all hope and then something woke up, and it feels like there's potential being reborn in you again. It's really exciting, pile number 4, to be honest. It feels like there is something just beyond the horizon that you have yet to see. But it's only with this shadow and working with the shadow that you'll be able to get there. Now let's take a look at the second section and see how everything connects, and we'll see how is this shadow impacting your life specifically by looking into the yin yang oracle card we got here and shuffling the tarot again. So for the oracle card we got in terms of how the shadow is impacting your life, we have Venus and offer. Yes, this is actually beautiful considering the fact that the term offer is right here. Venus, beauty, romanticizing life. Rose-tinted glasses sort of energy, but it also has talents. There's fortune here. There's play. There's love. There's genuinity. There's truth here. There's authenticity. Like I said, this isn't a shadow that is here to hurt you or mess with you or project any wounds onto you. It's a shadow that was once a light attribute of you that became a shadow because of how long you deactivated it, how long you disowned it from you. You tried to detach yourself from it for so long that it eventually had nowhere else to go but into the dark. It's like a part of you that forgot that it is light. And we have to make this part of you believe that it is again to help you find your true potential, your full potential in this lifetime. And I love how it says offer here because it's as if this is an opportunity. It's as if this shadow is trying to wake you up. It's trying to come out. That's why it's trying to call out to you again. There's an offer. There's an opportunity to this. Again, you have free will, pile number 4, so you get to decide if you want to take the call or not. So how is this shadow impacting pile number 4? Just some additional information, anything else we gotta know, or maybe some more clarity or confirmation on what we've already seen so far. So how is the shadow impacting pile number 4's life? So for the back of the deck energy, we have the Spirit of Swords, also known as the King of Swords in this deck. And if I did not mention the name of this deck, it is the Naked Heart Tarot. I'm going to, again, place the back of the deck card over here. For the cards we have for this second section in terms of how this shadow is impacting your life, for the first card we have the Strength card. Next up, we have the Two of Wands. Beautiful. Again, yep, this is just feeding into that narrative, that story I was getting and being fed by Source. It's confirming it all. And lastly, yes, oh my God, pile number 4, you have the Justice card. Again, this is beautiful. I'm so excited for you. There's so much hope and renewal in your reading that I just keep feeling, and it's like recharging my soul, and I love it. I love that I get to finish up today's video with this reading. I feel so grateful. I feel so honored. Oh my God, I'm so happy that I got to do this reading for you guys. All right, so pile number 4, this shadow is in your life to help you level up. Everything that I told you earlier is true. This shadow is here to give you the truth, to help reveal the true power you've always held this entire time that was under a lot of mud and gunk. And what's really beautiful here, pile number 4, is it feels like this is reminding me of a story of the golden Buddha statue. And if you guys aren't familiar with the story, basically how it goes is in the 13th century, around that, monks created a statue of Buddha out of solid gold. To protect it from invaders during that time, they covered it with layers of clay and mud and things of that nature to disguise its true worth and value, so that the invaders couldn't get to it. They wouldn't recognize it. They wouldn't think that it's of any value. For centuries, though, because of that, The statue remains in a monastery, and its true nature, its true value, its true potential, its true worth was forgotten because all the monks who knew of its secret, of its value, of its worth, had passed away. The statue, though, as time went on, I think around the 1960s or 1950s, somewhere around there, the statue started to get moved to a new location when it accidentally cracked. And as it cracked, it again revealed a glimpse of that beautiful gold beneath the clay. Upon further inspection, the workers then discovered that the statue's true nature was of genuine and total gold. So this golden Buddha is real, and it now sits in a temple in Bangkok and serves as a metaphor for human potential, that beneath layers of fear, doubt, or external limitations of some sort, that there is power inside of us all, that there is magic, that there is true potential that lies inside of us all. And I feel like you guys are revealing your golden Buddha. You guys are going through a process of unraveling and chipping away at this dirt and seeing what's really beneath the surface of what makes you you. And this shadow that was once a light attribute of what makes you you is a piece to that, is a missing link to helping you unlock that potential. That's what it's here for. It's coming up in your life right now as an opportunity for you to grow, for you to level up. What's really beautiful here is I feel like for some of you guys that are listening to this, it's around your birthday, so happy birthday. It just feels like you guys are going through a huge chapter that's brand new, and this shadow, it like was awakened. It was called upon by source to be like, hey, chop chop. Now's the time where pile number 4 needs to start leveling up. You know what you gotta do. This is your job. Come on, have at it. Like, this is how it's feeling. It's really, really cool. It feels like this was part of your soul contract in this lifetime to realize how much worth you actually hold. And this shadow attribute is what's gonna help you do that once you can reconnect it or reintegrate it into the light aspect of what makes you you. So with that being said, let's move these cards to the side and let's get into the juicy part of this reading, which is what actionable steps that you can take to work with this shadow aspect of you. So I'm just going to move these decks out here so we can move these cards up and to the side because these are the decks that we're going to be diving into next. So let me just move these here. I'm sorry if there is any cutoff with the cards. I'm still trying to figure out my way of how I'm going to set up these cards moving forward in readings to come, just because this is still a brand new setup for me. And I'm still also trying to experiment with different readings for you guys. What did I do? Oh, I messed that up. My bad. So let me just get this set up for you beautiful souls now. It's like your time is now. It feels like you're being awakened, that the scales are being put back into harmony and justice is being served for you. Like good karma. I don't know. It feels like you were owed this in some way. I'm going to bring the back of the deck energies and put them back into the deck so we can shuffle and look at the third section. I just wanted you guys to know that. Hopefully it's not too cut off. I really hope it's not. I'm sorry if it is. But let us take a look and see now what actionable steps you can take. So normally what we did in the last 2 sections is we looked at the oracle cards first, but we're going to do things differently. In this section, we're actually going to look at the tarot cards first and then pull out an oracle card of each deck last to give you guys any additional insights, maybe some journaling prompts depending on what comes up in these cards for you. Maybe it'll give you guys some extra things to walk away with for after this reading is complete, some additional guidance and things you guys can do of that nature to work with this shadow even further. So what actionable steps can pile number 4 take to work with this shadow? What actionable steps can pile number 4 take to work with this shadow? And the back of the deck energy for the third section, we have the Heart of Cups, also known as the Queen of Cups in this deck. For the tarot cards you guys received, for the first one, you have the Ace of Cups. Secondly, the Six of Cups, beautiful. And lastly, we have the Four of Cups, all cup energy, water, element of water, emotions, the heart. Pile number 4. An actionable step you can take to work with this shadow side of you is to recognize it as being a part of you that you once released and detached yourself from. You need to be really brutally honest with yourself and try to reflect on your childhood. Try to reflect on moments in your life when you were younger, of when you felt called to tone yourself down for others, when you felt called to dim your light for the sake of other people's comfort. When did you feel like you had to act lesser than who you are for the sake of pleasing those around you? Has there ever been a moment where fear of rejection was a thing in your center? Was that a big focal point in your life at one point, where you felt like you had to blend in like a chameleon sort of to your surroundings to make others appeal to who you are? Because it does feel as if you had forgotten how much you actually stripped away authentic pieces of what makes you you, genuinely you, because you were always trying to fit the mold of society standards or what people wanted from you or something like that. It just feels like you were slowly, it's like the Golden Buddha, really. Like you were slowly adding clay to yourself until no gold was able to be seen underneath you, the truth. And it's kind of like this gem in the shaman card. And that's why I love this card being the archetype depicting the shadow that wants your attention, because it's like the gem is there floating in like this void. And it's like, this is your hand trying to grab it, or you can grab it, but you're not reaching enough. You're not paying attention enough. You're not acknowledging it, that it's there. You don't know where to reach. It feels empty, but if you just move your arm a little bit further, the gem is right there to grab and it's yours. You just gotta take it. There's been a big disconnect in your mind and your heart for quite a while now because of this fear-based way of living that really just took a rule over your life. I do believe that there is a big fear of rejection here, some sort of fear of standing out or like being yourself, like you're just afraid of not being accepted or ostracized for being who you are. I don't know, you stand out differently than the most. It's what makes you beautiful. It's what makes you you. That uniqueness that you hold, that you stripped yourself away from, that you detached from, it was something that held a missing key to helping you figure out what you really want to do in this lifetime, but you got to go get it back. It feels like this is something that is gonna take some time, because I am feeling like with the Four of Cups here that in terms of an actionable step, this means that you're gonna start going on some sort of deep healing journey within yourself. It does feel like this is something that you need to sort of pluck out of you. You need to pull out of you, and that means you also gotta dig it up first. And the digging up process can be kind of uncomfortable and annoying. It can be painful at times as well. With the shaman, in order to actually embody the true essence of a shaman, the shaman must go through the underworld and go through the gunk and go through the dirt to unravel the magic within it. So it's just like the Golden Buddha. And it feels like in order for you to find your Golden Buddha within you, you must do that for yourself now. And that's going to require perseverance. That's going to require consistency. And that's going to require you to connect to an emotional why for why you want to go on this journey inside yourself. Why do you want to go on this journey of self-discovery, to understanding yourself to the fullest, so that you can step into your power once and for all, go get exactly what you want in this lifetime and manifest your dream life, sort of thing. In order to do that though, we must go through this journey. Obviously, I can tell you to do that, right? But maybe some of you guys are saying, but how? Like, how can I do that? If you need the how here, I would recommend that you guys check out my channel, my YouTube channel. And I'm not just saying that because I think there's an opportunity to, it's just because it does feel like you guys have to go on some deep healing journey. And if you guys don't know the how, the videos that I have provide a lot better explanation than I can give you guys in less than 30 seconds of me just explaining it. Check out my playlists that I have. I have one on the root chakra specifically, and that's the chakra that I feel like you guys need to start looking into, as the root chakra is aligned with our roots. It's the parts of us that make us us. It's where we came from. It's what led us to identifying with the things that we identify with. It gives us the why. And I feel like you guys need to find your why to help you stay persistent in this journey. That's really what's gonna help you be able to level up. It's gonna take time, and it's gonna take some elbow grease, 100%. That's what I'm seeing. But this is something that is required of you, and it's an opportunity technically that Source is giving you right now to do this for yourself, because you have like a dream, or there's something that you want to accomplish, and it is possible, and Source gave you this opportunity to do this so that you can remember that as being your truth. It feels like this was really part of a soul contract or some sort of plan you had before you incarnated on Earth for this lifetime. Like you had a plan to remember your worth, and this is going to be part of that journey. That's something that came through with the tarot cards, but let us see if your oracle cards have anything else to show us in terms of any cherry on top additional guidance and steps you can take, or maybe things that I can further plug into the message we just got here with your tarot cards. So let us see with the self-compassion deck, what actionable steps can pile number 4 take to work with this shadow? I do feel like you guys got 2 cards. You guys are the first and only deck that received 2 self-compassion cards. So I find that very beautiful. I wonder why. We'll take a look at that. But let me just finish shuffling up this last deck we're going to use for this 3rd section so we can kind of dive into everything at once. What actionable steps can pile number 4 take to work with this shadow? This is funny. It feels like you have 2 cards coming out for each deck. You guys, again, like I said, are the only pile that received 2 cards in both of these self-development decks. So I'm excited for you. It feels like you guys are receiving a lot of guidance in this reading. So again, if you guys don't have anything to take notes with, I do highly recommend you do, or even pause the video when I start showing you these cards to write down what it tells you, because maybe some of these are going to be prompts. Let's take a look at it together now and see. So let us take a look at the self-compassion cards first. For the first card that you got, you have what else? Bring to mind a recent small frustration. Notice the sensations of the difficult emotions. Take a breath and then notice what, if any, other emotions may also be present in this moment. So I'm gonna try to hold this as still as possible so you guys can pause this video and write it down. Okay, we're gonna switch over to the next card. Lastly, for the self-compassion deck, you guys have compassion touch. Place your hands over your heart and notice if there is any tension, heaviness, or agitation. If so, send love and compassion to yourself. Try saying, I see you are suffering, and I love you. Notice how those words feel as they land. Pile number 4, you are meant to accept the part of yourself that you have allowed to become a shadow in time. This shadow side of you that has come up that wants your attention right now was once a light attribute of you. It became a shadow because of you shunning it. This part of you feels extremely unloved, extremely invalidated because of the lack of love and notice you've given to it all this time. This card is a big confirmation of that, and I believe that there is a lot of shadow work healing to be done here for you guys in particular, and perhaps that's why the 4 of Cups came up at the last position when we looked at what actionable steps perhaps a dark night of the soul is among you coming up soon. For the final 2 cards you guys got from the Soul Truth Self-Awareness deck, we have where can I create more space? Let's read the back. Instead of filling yourself up with busy work and things to do, create more sacred space in your schedule. in your home, your mind, your lungs, and in your heart. Take time to just be. Today's soul action: do a clutter detox of your schedule, home, and innermost self. Make space. Clarity will come. This is a big call of action for you guys to start doing that healing work, really. It is time for you to do some self-awareness. Yes, I do feel like this is where I'm gonna, again, push you guys, urge you guys to go check out my playlist on the root chakra healing, because I do feel like there is gonna be some beautiful gems of wisdom for you guys to take out of that playlist series, because it really, everything that I make on my channel are things that I have gone through personally, and I share you guys all the tips and tricks that I used to help me become the best version of myself. So again, I do highly recommend that you guys check that out, because this is kind of hinting at that for me. I feel like there is a big call for you guys to start doing that for yourself, to start unlocking this potential that has been hidden within you for so long. For the final card in this third section, in terms of actionable steps you can take to work with this shadow, you have, am I letting fear stop me? This is a big hint, again, of the root chakra, as the demon that is ruled or associated with the root chakra is fear. Let's turn it over and read. Are you experiencing a mountain of fear right now? Are you stalling, freezing, or giving up? The juicy secret is that you are the boss of fear. You are unstoppable. But it's up to you to see that by taking action. Today's soul action: today be brave and do it scared. Choose one fear and move through it. You are in need of a hero. So that is who you will become. You must become the hero of this shadow to bring it back into the light. Reintegrate yourself with it. There is so much beauty in your reading pile number 4. All these cards just simply being confirmations and adding more emphasis to why this part of your life is going to be of importance right now and should be at the forefront of your focus. With that being said, pile number 4, let us finish up your reading by taking a look and seeing what shift or potential outcome or transformation will take place once you embrace this shadow, once you work with it, once you do everything that we dived into today. What potential outcome or transformation can come from this? What will shift if pile number 4, or when pile number 4 embraces the shadow? The card, the archetype, the energy of the shift that will take place within you once you embrace this shadow is the Pilgrim. How beautiful. I know what this card means, but I really just want to read the booklet to finish up your reading. That way it also leaves room for interpretation for you guys to sit with at the end, okay? So let us do that right now. But normally the Pilgrim is symbolic of a brand new beginning, like you're starting something brand new. And I think that's very beautiful considering where this reading has led us to. The fact that you have the Two of Wands, it's like planning for the future. Like this shadow aspect that you're meant to work with is meant to come with you in this next part of your life. And this is where the new beginning can be born. It's like you're being reborn. Like I kept mentioning a death and then a rebirth cycle. It's really beautiful, pile number 4. But let us see what the booklet has to say. The Pilgrim. And some additional archetypes that align with this are the Wanderer, the Traveler, and the Apprentice. For the Pilgrim, an outward journey is always an inward journey. This archetypal wanderer seeks wisdom, experience, and meaning in the farthest reaches of the globe and the deepest regions of the spirit. Others will wonder when the Pilgrim will settle down and claim a more conventional life. But the Pilgrim knows that the heart belongs in motion. Where there is motion, there is freedom, expansion, and growth. Responsibilities, social conventions, and logistics lull us to sleep and soon the pilgrim becomes veiled in the slumber of the day-to-day. Yet when this archetype awakens, it rallies our sense of adventure and leads us out the door toward a new reality. With the pilgrim at your side, you will never lack courage, nor do you need every amenity. Travel light, travel soon. Your spirit needs it. When it's in its light position, the keywords are learns, grows, adapts, and studies, which is what you're about to start embarking on. This is exciting, right? And when it's dark, there's aloofness, non-committal energy, and flakiness, which I feel like you have done onto yourself in the past. It feels like this is nostalgic. There's nostalgic energy here, like deja vu-like energy. Let's read the side messages. We all have a deep longing to answer the call, to get unstuck. What are the obstacles between you and the door? It's the fear. There's some sort of fear here holding you back. Pile number 4. And lastly, even in the stillness of meditation, the pilgrim feels the movement of the heart toward what it loves. There needs to be more heart put into the actions you're choosing to take. And this shadow aspect of you is what's going to help you be able to do that and embody that. Because in order to get to where you want to genuinely, truly want to be in life, you need to put your heart in it. You can't get there without no heart. You know what I mean? I feel like this is all that I've seen for you because there's a lot of things that are being left unanswered and unsaid. And I want you to know, I want you guys to know in particular that I do recognize that, but it's because these are answers that you guys need to find out on your own for yourselves. And it's about doing the work. It's about going in that inner journey within yourself to pull that out of you. So again, like I said, I'm going to refer you guys to it one last time. Please check out my root chakra healing series because I do feel like that's going to help give you guys some guidance on how to start doing that for yourselves. If you don't really have a clue on how to start or how to begin, that will give you guys some guidance, a nice rundown on how to begin for you, okay? I really hope that this reading resonated with you guys. Thank you so much for your time and your energy, and it was such a pleasure. It was such an honor, pile number 4, to be able to do a shadow work reading for you. Shoot a comment down below if this reading resonated with you, if you feel called to share your personal experience with it. Let me know. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you guys want to just let me know that you guys were one of the people that picked this pile, you can even write Golden Buddha in the comments and just click that and I'll know exactly right off the bat where you guys are coming from. So hit the thumbs up button if this reading resonated with you or provided you with any guidance or further clarity or clarification on what's been going on in your inner world. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this when it comes to helping you become the best version of yourself and heal yourself from the inside out to get whatever the heck you want out of your lifetime in time. Send you guys so much unconditional love. Don't forget what I said. Start the healing. This is important. It's your opportunity. You have free will to decide if you want to do this or not, okay? Hopefully I'll see you in another future video.